Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Christensen. I wish I had something to say other than my whole body's a weapon. That's not really something from this movie, but it made me think to say that. Okay, we've got Cameron Mickle.
Great police work. Really brilliant. Why don't they just hang a banner that says, "Don't come back"? Jeez, what is French word for stakeout, huh?
And we've got Jordan Christensen.
Activate all of them. All of them? I want them in a body bag by lunchtime.
By sundown, Jordan.
Sundown, dig it.
By sundown. That's right. And we've got fact checker and guest.
Fact check.
Jason Bourne enthusiast Kevin Wild.
I don't know who I am.
If only I could give a look that explains the look he gives to those police officers when he throws that wooden bat and catches it, and then he looks around. That look he gives is priceless. That would be my quote for the movie podcast. That look he gives, man. So today we are discussing the Bourne Identity. This movie came out in 2002. It was directed by Doug Liman. The writers were Tony Gilroy, did the screenplay along with W. Blake Herron. And this stars Matt Damon, Frank Potente, Chris Cooper, Clyde Owen, Brian Cox. It's got everyone. Indigente. No, that's not what he said. Adewale Akinyoye Agbaje. Wow, that's a cool name. Gabriel Mann, Walton Goggins. Yeah, I know, right?
What's the girl from 10 Things
Josh
I Hate
Hamilton.
About You? What was her name?
Julia Stiles?
Yeah. She was fun to see in this too.
Yes, for sure. And a few others. So we're going to go around, say what was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for this podcast. Let's start with you, Kevin.
So I rented this movie last night in preparation for this. And
I'm surprised you don't own like the whole collection on like Blu-ray or something.
Yeah, you had to rent it, Kevin? What's wrong with you? Oh, but he's like, I carry the movie in my heart.
It's because this is the first time I've seen this movie in like 6-7 years. It's been a long time.
Dang.
Kevin, what happened to you? You turned soft. What would Matt Damon say?
The movie I watched the most was The Bourne Ultimatum, which is the best of the three.
Oh, I was going to ask you. I should have asked you which one was your favorite.
I don't know, dude. After watching this, maybe I have to watch The Bourne Ultimatum again. I think this is a really good
nothing away from The Bourne Identity. It's just like that one's good. The other one's better. That's all.
Oh.
Hey, you want to talk about perfect trilogies? I totally forgot about this one, by the way. Like Lord of the Rings, this one, Toy Story.
Underrated.
Oh, totally.
Absolutely. Well, and it kind of gets undercut because you had like the Legacy that came out, but again, not even Jason Bourne. And then you had a Bourne movie that wasn't good either.
Well,
Jason Bourne.
What did you think about? Oh, he's gonna go. Because I was wondering about.
Oh wait, come back! Kevin just
don't go.
exited the podcast. He just walked off, dude. That's the kind of guest we brought on, guys. Kevin doesn't take from nobody. He just gets up and leaves. He's like, not enjoying. I am not titillated. I am leaving this conversation.
I just got too upset. You insulted me to my core.
I'm Jack to the tits. That's all I can think of, Ty, right now.
I'm Jack to the tits. All right, so dude, so excited to have Kevin on. Yes. Kevin, share with us, what was it like watching the movie the first time you watched it?
Yeah, I want to know.
The first time I watched it, it was kind of weird because The Bourne Identity was actually the last film I saw from the Bourne trilogy.
What?
Because this movie came out in 2002. I was like 11 at that time. And
your parents were like, this is much too violent for children.
And so I think the first one I watched was Supremacy. And I don't even remember too much of that. When the first time I watched that, and the first one I remember really well.
Yeah,
was
that's like the saddest one too.
Yeah, so when I watched it for the first time, I don't remember too much. I just remember thinking the fight scenes were really cool, and everything being super intense.
This is really cool.
So freaking good.
And
that song, "Ready, Steady, Go!"
Oh my gosh.
Who didn't have that song on their iPad to work out to?
Oh yeah.
Punching dumbbells.
It reminds me I need to download it again.
Yeah, what's that song? Ready, steady, go!
And so the first time I watched it, I just remember it being super intense. And one thing that was really, so there are two things that went through my mind when I watched it again last night. one is that it's a smart movie. It's a really smart movie, and most of it's quite believable, and like it doesn't go, and like most of it doesn't go like it's like, oh, come on. Now there's some exceptions to this rule, but most
storming an embassy and escaping with your life, maybe.
This is a freaking genius time.
Again, is like it's because like this guy is basically a human weapon. It's like it's just a programmed human, a programmed human weapon, and so like that honestly like under the right circumstances, I could see that happening. Someone being that good. And then actually, so I lied. There's
That's how you're so close-minded.
So the second thing is like that I tried to imagine is like, okay, what if I woke up, I didn't remember everything, and then I'm slowly realizing I'm a killer, and
I'm like, I'm living my dream job.
It's a dream come true.
Realizing it's like, okay, I've done some terrible things, and that.
It's like a sitcom. I gotta fall back in love with what I do for work.
And then the third thing is that I like the first two acts. I like it. I think most of it is excellent, except for one scene. And do you want me to discuss that now or later?
In nitpick.
Let's save it for nitpick because I'm dying to know what that is.
Overall, excellent movie, except for like two things.
Two things, and he's like, "Oh, it's not a perfect movie because of these two cankerous."
Well, I mean,
evils.
Of course, you can nitpick certain things, but I would. But to give a little preview to what I'm going to say is that there's two aspects that feel disjointed from the rest of the movie.
Right on. So, I will go next. I saw this. I can't remember that, like you, Kevin. I can't remember the first time I saw this movie. I do remember 2-3 different times that I watched the Bourne trilogy back to back. So I once stowed away in my college apartment when I wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah, that's right. Broke the law. Come at me, bro. So I was sitting in my apartment, and they had turned off the heating. So it was freezing. So I was wrapped up in 4 blankets lying in my bed just for the semester to start. So I was only there for like 2 or 3 days before we were supposed to be in there. And I'm watching all 3 Bourne movies wrapped up in 4 or 5 different pillows or blankets, and I'm freezing my tail off. But I watched all 3 movies back to back, and I was like, this is such a great trilogy. Oh. And I actually could follow it. I was watching on my laptop, but I could follow it even with the shaky cam. It wasn't so disjointing because the first exposure I had to Jason Bourne was the ultimatum, that fight sequence that they had at the end with the bike chase. It was so, like, you want to talk about shaky cam on steroids. And again, I watch it now, I still have a lot of appreciation because the action sequence and fights were really well done, even though they added so much shaky cam, it almost didn't allow for me to see what was going on. Yeah. At least in the movie theater. But then when I watched it on my laptop, which is a shame because I don't think any movie should be enjoyed better from a laptop, but I didn't get a headache and I enjoyed it because I could like sit back and kind of see everything that was going on, and I enjoyed it even more. So I remember every time I've seen all 3 of these movies together. I've done it twice. I did it once in Park City, and then I did it once in Idaho in my college apartment. And then I watched this one last night, and I'll probably be watching the rest of the trilogy the rest of this week because holy cow, it awakened that love I have for just straightforward, it's such an incredible movie. And I can't remember who did the book, but I don't know if Tom Gilroy or Blake Herron had anything. Was it one of them?
Ludlum, I think it was.
Right? Yeah. These stories that are like, amnesia and then waking Robert up into Ludlum. A world that you're thrown into this world of, like I'm an assassin. Like it reminds me so much of John Wick now.
Yes.
Like, John Wick doesn't exist without Jason Bourne. And so I'm so grateful that movies like this came out and they're tried and true and they're so good. Like sometimes less is more. And man, this movie is so incredible. So love it on rewatch. And I was surprised. I was like, I forgot how much action was in the first one because I thought like they didn't have the budget for it, so that like a lot more action was in the sequel. But I'm like, no. The whole Clive Owen thing was in this movie, and I always forget that too when I watch this. Freaking love it. So anyway, Jordan, what was it like watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
Yeah, like Ty, I can't honestly remember, and I feel like same as Kevin too. I think I ended up watching this one last. I think I watched the second one because like Dad didn't own the first copy of the first one. He just had 2 and 3, and so I started with 2 and then I watched 3. I think I fell asleep in 2 because I was so confused what was going on.
Who are all these people? What's all this boring dialogue?
Well, it kind of starts off, right away with like, people getting killed and stuff.
Shot in the face.
Yeah. But rewatching this one, oh my gosh, I love Bourne Identity. I just like John Wick. I think it's just when you watch one, you're like, oh, this is the best one. And then you watch. I know, recency bias. And then I'm sure if I watched Ultimatum, I'd be like, oh, that one's the best. And it's just because when you're immersed so much so into it, I just absolutely love it. So it was amazing on this watch. Just can't remember the first time or when I watched it, but we did grow up, however, in a home where our parents thought this was too violent, so we couldn't watch it, and it's just... I felt like I
remember making so much fun of you for that.
Yeah, I remember feeling...
Dude, I actually feel like I watched this whole movie, though, because Kevin would, like, quote, "Thou wast chosen, thou wast born." He thought it was so funny that you would keep quoting this scripture. You and Nathan would quote this all the time. Like, so I felt like I had seen the movie even before I'd seen the movie.
Yeah, you guys had immersed us into that world and we hadn't even seen it yet. And the funny part is, I don't know if I told you guys this, but I did a date with Natalie and I pretended to be Jason Bourne. I got a phone call and then I went out of the room and then I made some loud noises and I fired a cap gun, like some gunfire. I came back in the room and I was like, I messed up my tie and shirt and everything, and I put some blood on my face and I came back and I pretended I was like a secret agent. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome. Was she aware that it was of this?
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and how long you been married? Oh wait. That's right. Yeah.
No, I wanted to give her a story to tell. I thought it'd been funny, and it was. It was freaking funny.
And like,
Again,
where is she now?
You were just ahead of your time. Like, if you'd done that,
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Idaho.
Dude, I'm sure she appreciates that. She tells everyone in the institution her story. Oh, I shouldn't besmirch her character.
wow.
Or maybe I scarred her, and she's not married anymore. She's messed up.
Jeez.
Wait, what?
Dude, that's...
I'm just kidding.
So crazy.
I was joking.
Jordan's like, maybe she still thinks about me.
Maybe she's dead and her body can't be...
I do.
I honestly don't. I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, I don't either, but I do remember her standing up at church on Sunday and being like, talking about me and how like I was her hardest trial.
That was a low blow there. That was a low blow.
It's okay. And well, Kevin,
Lower than refusing to give your answer of whether or not I'll go to prom with you for 10 days.
Or as low as Kevin hitting on her right after she turned me down to prom. Oh, homecoming.
Hey, it was a courtesy date. It wasn't.
Don't remind me of that either.
Sorry, our stories go back far. Obviously, we're
Yes, and so it was like, Kevin, we had you on here. We need to confront Kevin.
I won't lie.
No, we all were.
Dude, you guys have something to work out. That's okay. Me and Cameron will peace out for a few minutes while you guys kiss and make up.
Nobody's not an idiot at that age.
Yeah, you know when your wife or women will tell you like, "Oh, I wish I knew you when you were younger." You're like,
no,
"No,
you don't."
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
you knew me when you were younger.
Yeah, my wife does tell me
tears.
that, and I tell her, "No, you don't."
She wants to know you when you were 4 to 8. That's when she wants to know you.
Exactly.
She doesn't want to know
skip the
anything
teenagers.
above 10 years old and beyond. Nope. Doesn't want to know you.
Like skip age 14 to 22.
Can we talk about Bourne? Gosh dang, I didn't come on here to talk about you guys and your fetching wives.
Jeez. We have some unresolved issues.
Karen, sorry we involved you in our therapy session. Could you facilitate? Because I don't think I'm equipped to handle this.
Yeah, I can start off.
I'm going to
It's been too long.
what are
rescind
two of
my
favorite
responsibilities. Absconce this episode and give it the reins to you, Cameron. No, let's give a quick plot. Oh wait, have we gone around? Cameron, what was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for the pod?
So the first time watching it for the pod, or the first time I ever watched it was I think in 2017, and I had actually seen Unknown, starring Liam Neeson before this. So I was like, oh, this is just a copy of Unknown. And then I found out that Unknown came out 9 years after.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh,
very original.
Bourne took all this from
that's just
Unknown.
And so, but like I love, I just loved it on the first watch. It was funny rewatching it for the pod. I couldn't remember which one I had seen of the Bourne, because I've only seen one of the Bourne trilogy, which I'm gonna finish the rest of the Bourne trilogy this weekend. And I felt like Jason Bourne, because I was like, I don't remember like who I am. I don't remember what I watched, and then like mid watching it, I'm like, I was just waiting for the scene, like the glass fight scene where the guy runs into the street, for me to be like, okay, yeah, this is the one. Like, this is the one I see, and I felt like Jason Bourne watching it for the second time. But watching it for the second time, just overall really fun experience. Such a classic and a really good, really rewatchable, I feel like.
For sure. Definitely. And I feel like it's got a little something there for everyone to enjoy, right? So the quick plot synopsis, a man is picked up by a fishing boat, bullet-riddled and suffering from amnesia, before racing to elude assassins and attempting to regain his memory.
Hence the John Wick world idea. Like, it's just like, I love when he activates them all. It's just totally like John Wick. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, John Wick does not exist without Jason Bourne, but what is interesting is John Wick kind of did the more sleek, like this is like government, it still has the bureaucracy element, whereas John Wick, it's like, no, this is a world where you're free to assassin whoever you want. As there's a contract on their head, you can kill whoever they want. And like, apparently no one gets put away for murder. It's like, if you do something that will cross the high table or anything, like,
and citizens are just
have
totally
a hit on your
unfazed at seeing people just murdered right in front of them and just blood splatter in their head. I'm like,
but yeah, in this one, it's really clever because, it still has the element of like the secret world. And there could be government agencies that are like, hey, just like the CIA, we have super secret weapon agents that have like no identity.
Every time you say super secret, I always think of super secret underwear.
Super secret, top secret underwear. That's great.
Underwear.
Okay, I'm just
From
gonna
What's
pretend
Up,
like
Doc?
those last 10 seconds didn't happen.
We're quoting, what's the name of that? What's Up, Doc?
You might have not have watched What's Up, Doc. Have you seen that movie, Kevin?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you need to.
Okay.
It's funny.
Neither have most of the people on the podcast, so I'm glad that came up, what Jordan's talking about. He's like, every time you say it, I think of underwear. It's like, okay, great.
Now I feel like Elijah Wood in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I took her panties.
Oh, that's hot. All right, so let's get into two of our favorite things. Kevin, why don't you start us off? Two of your favorite things from this movie, go.
So two of my favorite things is that one, I really like how sleek and smart it is. Is that and in a world that is believable, is that you can see a world in which this is possible, and in at least as far as the government bureaucracy, top secret government assassins. Because I mean, if you look at history, is that you can see that. Government's done some shady things in order to keep things the way they want, and so you can see a world in which this is possible. And so
Surveillance state. They're listening right now, Kevin. Stop talking.
and so you can see a world in which this is possible.
Real quick, I just want to openly say on the podcast, I would never commit suicide. So if I'm killed by a Clinton, I never want to commit suicide. I never thought of committing suicide. Just want that out there. So if I die by suicide, I'll just have a note in my pocket always that says Hillary did it. Everywhere I go, I just carry it in my pocket. Hillary did it. So when I finally do go, there'll be someone to investigate, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. It'll be Kevin.
And I really love most of the action of this. Like, for example, my favorite scene is the standoff in the farmhouse, because of how smartly that was done. It's like those two talented assassins squaring off, and it takes one, and no one really made a mistake, but Bourne made the smarter move to identify where, to get the upper hand on the other guy. And I really like that. I thought it was really smart and it was really satisfying.
Well, I completely forgot about the guy that throws himself out the window. Oh my gosh. Talk about committed. Jeez.
Yeah, commitment, man, to the max, to the extreme.
I'm just surprised that they didn't try to jump him when he was looking at Marie. It's like, if you had time to jump out of the window, you could have jumped on him.
Cameron, how about you? Two of your favorite things.
I think like my favorite thing about this is just the concept. Even though like I was kind of joking about how I thought it was like a copy of Unknown, even though it was like the second movie I'd ever seen of this concept, like I feel like this concept's pretty hard to get. As long as you mix it up with like the amnesia, not knowing what you like did in your past life, I really enjoy things like where we kind of figure out at the same pace as the protagonist. I really enjoy that. Because I feel like it really immerses you into the thing, and you're trying to pick up on things like, wait, what the heck? I love how they're like, oh, you're in
Have
shipping.
you seen the
I'm
other
like,
movie
who
with Jim
has,
Caviezel?
like a billion different passports. Oh yeah, you're in shipping. I'm like, man, you're an assassin. I don't give a fuck what you say.
That line made me
I'm
laugh.
Like,
I'm in shipping.
I was like,
Cameron, have you seen the other movie by with Jim Caviezel, the Unknown? It's also called Unknown.
Oh, yeah?
It's a big warehouse, and everyone gets amnesia, and there's like 8 people, and they're all trying to piece together what happened. There was like a drug dealer or arms dealer or something that went wrong, and someone has a gun, and he's like, why do I have a gun? And who are all these other people in here with me? And they're all locked into this warehouse. It's pretty dumb, but yeah, same concept. Like you said, the amnesia thing where it's like, oh, you learn with them in the movie. And sometimes it works. It's kind of like a Clue, whodunit kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, when it's not done well, it doesn't work. And you can't watch it again because you're like, the mystery and suspense doesn't work. But see, this one, the reveal isn't, because you know from the beginning what he is, which is what helps, because it's just the thrill of watching him learn it. And Matt Damon is so charismatic. Freaking A, dude, that guy. Matt Damon, it's just like Keanu Reeves in watching him in John Wick. Even he isn't as charismatic, but the movie works because you're like, I just empathize with him and his blight. Like he's not a charming guy, right? He just had a wife and she's gone now, and now he needs revenge. He needs to exact revenge. Matt Damon just looks like such a Boy Scout, and he's lost. He's just like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what's going on. And you care about him because otherwise, if he was the cold, killing, hard assassin, the movie might not work. You're like, oh, I don't like him. I'm not supposed to like him. But he's like a perfect anti-hero because he forgets his purpose, and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be in this world. And you're like, any sane person that gets out of it would be like their first moment, like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Just without Matt Damon's performance, I don't think it works, is my point. Like, I think you put any other person in there, I don't think it would have worked as well. And holy crap, my second favorite thing, the stunts. They freaking hold up, dude. This movie is so exciting. Like, the hand-to-hand, it's got car chase, and it's got the shootout. So it has, like, all 3 of my action set pieces that I love. And some movies will have, like, 1 or 2 of them that I really love. All 3 of them are done expertly well. Like that fist-to-fist hand combat was so great. The pen is mightier than the sword, literally represented by a pen against a knife fight. And being the savvy character that he is, he actually disarms the guy with the pen and actually has him pulling out of his freaking hand. It's so disgusting. But I freaking love that. And the car chase is really exciting, and the shootout at the end. It's, again, an amazing action film, and it still holds up to this day. So that's my second favorite thing.
It's right if I tell my
Jordan, how about you?
I want to tell my second favorite thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hijacked it, Karen. I thought you were done sharing. I'm sorry.
No, you're chilling. My second favorite thing is definitely the fight sequences as well. Like it has the best scene. I think one of the best scenes I've ever seen in an action film was where he like disarms the guy and has the gun upside down, is pulling the trigger with his pinky finger, and then when he's falling, like when he jumps, takes his body down and jumps. I know that he still looks so cheesy,
awesome, by the way,
but it looks so dope. I'm just like, dude, that is like what you like dream of on the tramp. You're just like falling, just. I'm like, that is the dopest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
You should clarify the trampoline. I think we're probably the only few people that call the trampoline the tramp. So I don't know if you want to clarify. You meant the trampoline.
Oh, no, come on. Every kid calls it.
That's what I dream about when I'm on the tramp. You're like, wait, what are you talking about?
We're too lazy to say 3 syllables.
I know, trampoline. But again, I don't think a lot of people had a trampoline growing up, so I just thought I'd clarify there. That's what he meant by when he's on the tramp. He just means that he's on a trampoline, folks.
It's not meant to clarify that.
Yeah, no. Well, just don't let your kids
listen
listen
to
the
podcast. What am I to do,
podcast.
you tramp?
Then I don't need to clarify. What choice do I have, you tramp? Oh my gosh, Oscar. Hey, real quick. So I'm so sorry to have cut you off, Cameron. I thought you were done, but oh no, but we still have to get to Jordan's favorite too. Sorry,
yeah,
Jordan,
you guys took
ahead.
all the good ones. Gosh dang it! Mine obviously was the fighting, but you guys said it already.
You can't say that. You can't say that. You
It's so good though. Like that is literally what makes this movie. Those fight scenes are unbelievably good, and like Ty says, sometimes. And that's kind of the nitpicking section. It's just the shaky cam. Sometimes I'm like, I want to see like what's going on.
But in this movie,
this one's actually not as bad. I felt like Ultimatum, they kind of upped it up a
There's
lot.
a reason for that, and that's because the first movie had the second and third movies were a different director, and he was a big fan
Tom
of the shaky
Greengrass?
cam because
Greengrass,
Paul
right?
Greengrass,
Paul Greengrass.
Paul Greengrass really is that he thought he wanted to use the camera style of like someone being there trying to watch the action, like being there in person, and so that's the shaky cam, and he really went hard on it.
That's
and sometimes it
Amen.
makes the action scenes more intense, but also makes it harder to follow.
Just like Cameron used to tramp, you know.
oh my gosh.
And so the first movie had a different director, and I guess it's a good time as any to bring it up is that we talk about like recent films like Marvel having lots of studio meddling. This movie had a lot of it. Had a lot of conflicts between the studio and director.
Really?
The studio really wanted to be more action oriented, and the director really wanted to be like almost a noir film.
And their studios are like, make it explode. It's like, I want it to be a subtle, sleek movie. And he goes, no, it needs to have the big box office bombs, baby.
And the biggest part that this shows up in is that the third act was heavily rewritten. And like probably the scene that stuck the most to the director's vision was the farmhouse scene.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the third act is that the studio said more action, and the director wanted a more subtle finale. And you can see who won. In that.
What was he trying to go for? He was trying to make what? No Country for Old Men? What was his deal, man? He's trying to make this.
So for example, it's like you can see like with the little action scene on the stairway, the one that Cameron loves so much.
Cameron's the rich executive at the studio. Come on, it needs to have more bazinga. It needs to have a big kid. I want him fetching body surfing down the stairs. I don't know what character I am. Come on.
And then the other issue that the studio had was the director is that director really insisted on being in the locations that were in the book. So like Switzerland, so like Berlin, Paris, is that the studios and like figures like, well, since we're basically taking the name and the general plot and like the very general view of the plot and nothing else, is like, why don't we switch up the locations as well, and get areas that's cheaper to film, because in Paris it's very expensive to film. Germany is very expensive to film, but the director really wanted it to be, or Doug Lyman really wanted it to be in these locations and insisted on it, and so he went about $10 million over budget, and so because of these things, the studio said, we don't want to see your face again.
That's crazy. And you're like, do you not remember how much money this movie made you? And how many fetching sequels and IP that this brought you? And the fact that they didn't bring him back for this, that's so disingenuous, man. What man? I freaking hate Hollywood executives, man. Mm-hmm. This is a great example of them trying to ruin his film. Like, imagine what kind of, like, I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine like a Danny Villeneuve, or like a, you know, like we said, just slow burn, like, No Country for the Coen brothers, just being like, I want to just do what I want to do with this, please. And they're like, no, you need to have these, this, and this. And he's like, okay, dude, like, and they kick him to the curb. That makes me so pissed now for the sequels. But I mean, they're still well done, mind you. But the idea that he's like, let me just make the movie I set out to make, and we're like, nah.
What was that word?
Come on, it needs to have the body something.
Remember the what's the war movie again? Stanley Kubrick made. What's that called? I always want to call it
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. He locked the executives in the truck, and like he's like, you guys can't have any say on this movie. That's great.
Yeah, dude, maybe Stanley Kubrick and Nolan are the only two that can still tell executives to sit down and shut up.
And one of the other things is that, you know, we all talk about Matt Damon like making an excellent action hero, is that he was like eighth in line for this role. They didn't want Matt Damon. They wanted like Tom Cruise, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Brad Pitt, And like when they all turned it down, they were like, okay, let's give a shot to Matt Damon.
Oh gosh, guys, could you imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie?
That would be so
I don't remember who I am.
I don't even know who I am.
That fisherman would not have been able to fish him out of the water. He'd been like trying to pick him up and been like, "Yep, sorry, you're gonna have to float out to sea."
Boat's
sorry,
like
dude.
tilting around.
Yeah. You wouldn't. Oh my gosh, it just makes me feel so sick inside. That must have been the executives too. They've been like, "Hey, we want a bit Arnold Schwarzenegger here," and they've been like, "No." He's like, "I want someone boyish and charming," and he's like, "Yeah, get Sylvester Stallone in there, huh? Get your big Brad Pitt in there." Oh my gosh, that makes me sick just thinking that. How much had Matt Damon been in before this? Right?
I
Because
love
like this
all
is
executive producers are Italian
like,
now.
Saving Private Ryan, Good Will Hunting, movies like that.
So he had already been like an Academy Award winner. Like, I'm surprised, but then again,
Well, he's
like,
an
they're
action
worried
star.
that he could be an action
was
star.
an action star.
Right.
Because they draw in a certain crowd, and that's the crowd they were looking for, you know?
Look at that. A dramatic actor doing an action role and people went to go see it. What a novel idea. Eh? Why did we think of that? Okay, this guy's getting old really quick.
I love it.
What's that?
They decided Liam Neeson was an action hero when he was like 50.
Yeah. Dramatic role, yeah. And yeah, he's an action hero at 50, man. Throat punch. It's so exciting when you see a really acclaimed British actor just going ham on people, man. Like, hey, Les Mis wasn't that good of a movie. Not enough throat punches, huh?
You go from Oscar Schindler to like to killing terrorists.
To think like Liam Neeson his whole life had spent building a career about being this serious actor, and now he's in Taken 3.
With the only exception being like Qui-Gon Jinn.
Right. But even then, like the most stoic Jedi I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Who literally is being devoured by an alien fish and says, "There's always a bigger fish." Nonplussed, not terrified at all. Like,
He's a
we
robot.
almost died back there. I don't care what the Force says. You nearly almost died, and your line is, "There's always a bigger fish." Smugly? George Lucas, man, what on earth were you thinking? Okay.
I could do anything.
Did you know they're bringing Liam Neeson back for the Obi-Wan series?
Oh, that. I'm okay with that.
I am definitely okay with
I'd
that.
be okay with that, dude. If he plays like the Ra's al Ghul, where he's like lecturing Jedi, that would be so freaking dope. Where he's just like,
Just don't do
"Jedi
eight
must control his anger."
cut scenes for him to do.
That
a
was my
flip.
best Liam Neeson. Was that good? I thought it sounded good. Did that even sound good?
No, it
A
didn't.
Jedi must learn to control his anger.
That was good.
No, it wasn't.
I'm going to have Kevin to fact check me.
It's a solid 5 out of 10.
Okay,
How about, have you finally learned to do all that is necessary?
dude,
That's
I
better.
just want to say,
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. But if it's money, I assure you, I don't have any. But what I do have is a particular set of skills. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, it'll be the end of it. But if you don't, I will come find you. I will find you, and I will kill you.
He is that.
You didn't say the best line, Ty. Good luck.
3/4 of the reason why he's an action star is not because of like his action skills. It was because of his super awesome voice.
Right? Yeah, it was that phone conversation. Like, wouldn't it be great if we had like a British actor, well esteemed, that could deliver a really chilling line, and you're like, you don't know necessarily if you believe him, and then you watch the movie and you're like, oh, betcha, Daddy, come rescue me. Freaking so freaking good, dude. Liam Neeson, most terrifying father ever. Let's get into.
wait, I just want to say
Jordan,
my second
you didn't
favorite
finish
thing
your-
is this girl. I can't remember her name. It's embarrassing, but
This girl, Frank Potente,
sorry,
Marie's character.
I love her. Oh my gosh. Cameron's always saying my wife, and that's this woman.
Okay. Dude, I can't say how sexist it is that we just refer to actresses that we find attractive. We're like, they're my wife. How weird is that? So sexist. Cameron's like, yeah, and apparently Jake Gyllenhaal is also one of Cameron's wives. How about that?
Yeah,
Hey,
see, I'm not sexist, Ty. Gender don't matter.
you guys are more fundamentalist Mormon than, or wait, I said that backwards,
For the
than a
cancel
polygamist.
mob, I'm not part of this.
No, they come for you, Kevin. They're coming for you, dude.
I had to give him a shot.
That's right. I do not condone this behavior. So let's get into nitpicks. You guys have any nitpicks? Kevin, you said you had 2 scenes here in this movie. I'm curious to know.
So So the biggest, I mean, I'd say it's two scenes, but it's really one. And it's actually the scene that Cameron loves the most. It's because everything is believable until he kicks that guy down and flies down, shooting somebody coming on a body.
Hey, they teach you that in Killing Assassin School, you know?
That is because
they teach you to body surf.
And so when I watched it felt really disjointed for the rest of the movie. And then when I looked at facts about the film, about production afterwards, I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's probably something that executives demanded more action, because it was too much of a, there wasn't really a fight scene. It doesn't seem like there was really a fight scene planned after the farmhouse.
The executives are watching the movie.
I'm
getting bored here.
They need something else.
I'm getting bored over here. You know what's so weird about that? I was just thinking about that too. Like, I don't think of any situation where you're falling on a fat person's body where you'll be more advantageous. Yeah, it'll be more advantageous for you to be falling down a staircase to shoot your enemy than, I don't know, just going down the staircase, stealthily and assassinating him that way. Like,
or the guy's already coming up the stairs. He could have just waited.
Jump down the stairwell. I don't know where he is. He could be behind me.
Mm-hmm. And so the thing is, like, that would be
one
more
perfect
acceptable.
shot. Boom.
That would be more acceptable in like a John Wick movie where our suspension of disbelief is really high. But this movie establishes that this is very much in our real world, and that a lot of it is based on lots of things that we have, and that this is a very realistic world. And so when you throw something like that in, where the rest of the movie was fairly believable, it just broke my suspension of disbelief.
And then it hits you with that Avenger jump, and Captain America lands.
Superhero landing.
Well, he smashed on the fat guy. I totally believe that, man. He is a nice, big, pushy man. You know, he would have given a lot of nice. He would have given you a good, hefty, what do you call that? When you kick back, yeah, it would have been a nice soft landing. I don't know. Like, you're right. Like, to me, it is over the top, but I almost love how it's silent. It does take you out of the movie for just a brief second, because it's like silent. It's just, there's something weird about it, because it's like, I love the idea, but for some reason it doesn't work. You're right.
It feels more like a Pierce Brosnan James Bond type of thing.
Yes. It's like, I'm just going to get the better advantage. I actually almost think I would have liked it if he threw the body at him and the guy shot at the body, and then he peeked around the banister and shot him.
That would have been better.
Almost, but to be fair, I love the idea that he fell on him and smashed. Like I said,
would have been the only thing that made it better.
I just don't believe for a second that at that moment, what's that, Kim?
Is if he stood on top of like a surfboard. And he's like going down like that, and just lands it perfectly.
You should have been like
a skateboard.
As he was coming down, he was like, "Hey, 10, bro," and shot him in the head.
He's like kick flips him. He's like all-eing the guy.
At the very end, he just kicks his heel and he like straightens out.
Launches him back. He launches him back up to the top. It's like a Goofy movie or something.
Kevin, it's so funny that you say that, because I do love the scene, but you're right. Like I don't know if I'm getting older, because I remember watching Live Free Die Hard and being like, what is everyone complaining about? It's a fetching action movie. Like, get over yourself. Like John Wick takes on a jet. Why not? Or not John Wick, but John McClane takes on a jet. Yeah, jet plane. Why not? Yeah, like just takes it down. Now, granted, I loved the action set piece where he's sliding down the freeway and the explosion is behind him. That's a great shot. But the scene leading up before that, where he's literally on the jet plane doing nothing except being on the jet plane and survives that is all ridiculous. Like, I will be honest. Like,
but that was set up
I get it. And shooting, what was that?
But that was set up as a ridiculous movie, so it's more believable in that ridiculous movie.
That's fair too, and I even love the actor's disbelief of what's happening, which actually helps, because John Wick, I keep telling him, John McClane's character, Bruce Willis, is even like in disbelief himself, right? He laughs and chuckles. He's like, I can't believe that just happened, right? Like, there is that kind of wink and nod. But you're right. This one, it is great. But there is no instance where you could tell me that it was advantageous to grab a dead body cadaver and fly down a stairwell to get an advantage on your opponent. Again, to surprise him, sure, but I think it would have been like, what the, and shot him in the air. Like, there's no way that he would have been a better shot flying down a stairwell. You're right,
Kevin. I could just imagine that poor director like being told to add that scene in, and he's just like, shaking his head. He's like, oh
Why?
no.
Yeah, I almost. What if he was like, I'm not going to add any music. I'm going to make it as cheesy as possible, and it literally was. And so people would be like, oh, the ending was so stupid. But they're like, people were like, hey, come on, that was the best scene of the movie. We gotta have more of this. We gotta have more of this amazing.
Why is
action,
every
huh?
why
More body
is
surfing.
every critic and director Italian?
Dude, no, the producers. The
producers.
producers are Italian. They're the ones throwing the money away. They want to see a return on
like the
their
little hand.
The hand gesture, yeah, with the money.
Double action.
The money.
I don't know why.
But I
dude.
could totally
don't
see
know
Cameron in that
what's
theater be like, hey, man, this is getting boring in here.
That's it.
This is boring.
And this is and I guess the second thing, which again is like, it's not so much a nitpick as just like something that's just like the movie ages well in all aspects except the technology. Like is that you see like the effects look good and like the overlays look good, but then you see like these old CRT monitors and using pagers and things like that. And again, it's like it's not like a knock on the movie, but it's just kind of funny to see. It's like what decade are we in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does
Also,
date it
the one
instantly when you
thing
see a monitor. Yeah.
The one thing I would say that's a little bit of a nitpick of mine is sometimes the sound effects I felt like were a little cheesy. Like the punches were just like a little too
the
loud.
punching-
Yeah, the punches
It's
were
like,
just reacted.
and I'm like, yeah, and I was like,
No,
They're
see,
reused sound
again, Don Lyman, he's like Doug, he's like, I want it to be like subtle and like muffled punches, and then the director's like, what is he doing? Are they dancing? And he's like, no, I need a big smack on the face. I need to hear it.
Yeah, the sound effects sounded like 007, like even the silencer and the reloading. I was like, totally.
Like, comedic punching, yeah.
And
Which they
so
did
one
fix
thing,
by the second and third. They didn't have as many. I remember watching the third one. It sounds like elbows colliding.
Yeah.
Like they kind of muffle it with clothes too. It's just like,
one thing that like you don't really realize, and so I watched the honest trailer for the Bourne series like a few weeks ago, just because it showed up on my recommended list, and it was
Hey,
funny
dude,
because like
when it shows up in your
every scene where he
recommended list,
takes
you
down
gotta watch it,
and
man.
then cocks the pistol, and it's funny is like the sound effects are exactly the same in each of the scenes throughout the trilogy, and you can't unwatch that.
every reload is the same.
Yeah, it's exactly the same noise, and so, and so again, it's like if you don't want that part ruined, don't watch that honest trailer. Just don't.
Dude, you want to ruin podcasts? Just listen to people's breathing. Just focus on people inhaling and exhaling. You will not be able to unhear all of that. I'm just saying. And when you start
Can
thinking
you
about it, you're
imagine
like,
me editing this? Is why I would spend so much time editing out every single breath.
Every breath you take.
oh my gosh, I love it, dude. I love it. Oh my gosh, guys. Any other nitpicks? Kevin, I'm glad you brought up that one because I was worried to say it because again, I actually love that idea, but I almost think that they could have had it where maybe the stairwell was broke. I don't know, right? That something needed to happen where I was like, I don't believe that, but I love the set piece where he falls and lands on someone below him. I think that's an amazing set piece. So somehow you write your story where the stairwell is broken and there's no way to get down.
2 stories or something like that. Like if it would have been like 2 floors down, I think that would have been more reasonable than he dropped like 6 stories. And he's like,
Exactly. And it's like he just called me. He just like on a body. Just...
It's like Swiss Army Man, dude. He's like riding on him in the sunset. He's just like,
and right in the middle of the forehead too. It was like
yeah,
perfect headshot while falling 6 stories. Yeah.
Nothing else is preoccupying his ability to shoot.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, so just, and not even nitpick, I love the whole world of Assassins, but one thing that, yeah, it always strikes me when, like, people are, like, commit the suicide, I would have almost preferred cyanide, but the whole dramatic running at the glass and falling out of the window off the balcony was just so strange, it almost seemed comical. Again, I bet was like, oh, I'll just take a cyanide pill or something, and the director's like, hey, how about a dramatic walk off of the balcony? And he's like, okay. Like, again, I don't know how much was
I liked it a little bit, because I felt like it was a good job at showing, like, how, it's kind of similar to, like, the John Wick situation with, like, how powerful he is and how afraid everyone is of him. I thought it like showed. I thought it was more of a thing like I'm so afraid of Jason Bourne that I'm gonna kill myself.
But what was he afraid of? He wasn't.
Jason Bourne gonna torture
him hand to hand. He just had the upper hand. I just thought he didn't want to talk, so he was willing to kill himself. But why not take the cyanide pill or something?
Cameron just
a gun to the head.
He should be more afraid. He's got to run out the window.
I hope this Italian studio executive is a recurring role for you because I love this.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
because I can totally see Cameron in that just theater room turning and being like, I want more action.
I want more action. Come on, I need more explosions.
Maybe we could have Arnold Schwarzenegger come in and have a scene with our hero, huh? Jeez. Oh, I feel so bad for freaking Doug Liman now, man. I'm just imagining these guys being like, this needs to have more action. What other movies? Like, obviously, this came out after Die Hard, right? So that's probably what they were thinking. They're like, you need a big star. But see, it already worked for Bruce Willis. I don't know why they didn't think it would work for anyone else.
Well, Bruce Willis, I mean, the Die Hard, though, has a ton of action, so...
But more than this?
Yeah, he throws a body at the window, and they're just... I mean, that's why I'm saying they're probably like, yeah...
Stabs the guy with a pen.
Well,
blows up an entire farmhouse. Like, I mean, there's plenty of action set pieces here.
So one thing is that Lyman said, like,
with that song,
like his relationship with the studio executives was so poor that he just said he debated auctioning it off his director credit on eBay.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because he hated his relationship. So like, even if the executives offered him the director's job for The Supremacy, I don't think he would have taken it.
He was like, we want you to come back. And he's like, I don't know if I can come back. Come on, you gotta come back, man. Because we can push you around.
We can make us so much money.
Make so much money.
I'm just imagining like Hollywood execs with their sleeves rolled up, hairy arms, and big open-chested men. Dang, come on!
They've got like giant Italian subs while they're sitting there watching his movie. We want to watch another movie. And just pick it, just shred the movie. He takes a cyanide pill. Nah, we want him to run and jump out the window. He's afraid. Why is he afraid? I know he's afraid.
So one other interesting thing is that you wouldn't believe this from watching the movie is that this movie was not made with sequels in mind.
Oh,
it's
really?
Like you really think there is because there was a couple things that made me think.
This did wrap up nicely for an assassin movie. Yeah. This did wrap up really nicely with a bow.
So one thing that I noticed. Okay, Jordan, come on.
I'm sorry. I just pictured him, the poor director, showing his masterpiece, and then they're like, "No, it wouldn't be amazing." He's like falling out the window with the guy. A body's just like he's like shaking his head, like this is a disaster. My masterpiece,
my baby.
And so you think that this movie is set up for sequels, and there's two things because I didn't realize this until I researched the movie after I watched it. Is that there's two things that made me think is like, oh, this is perfectly set up for sequels. Is that one was like the mention of Project Blackbriar, or which what we see in the Bourne Ultimatum, and then in the government hearing, in one of the last scenes, and then two is that Julia Stiles in the Bourne Identity kind of seems like a needless add-on, and so you kind of feel like she's there to be a feature in future films. But then so I'm thinking, it's like, oh, that makes sense why they have her there. But then you see, and then I read afterwards, it's like they didn't, that they had no intentions of making a sequel. So it was just kind of a perfect coincidence that it was set up so well to be the beginning of a franchise.
It's crazy too that he went on to like direct things like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He directed Jumper. He directed, Edge of Tomorrow. Really, like, it's so weird. Like, he is the guy for action now, which is so crazy that they gave him such a hard time then. And you almost wonder what kind of movie he would have had. And again, to his credit,
he just gave in. Ty's like, you know what? Screw it. I'll just do exactly what they say because they're just like, hey. He's so sick of them.
This is one of those examples of studio meddling where, again, to their credit, it's like, we have no idea. The movie is great. There is that one sequence that you mentioned, Kevin, that, the body surfing, it's kind of takes you out of the movie for a second. But in the end, you're like, it did spawn all these sequels, and Jason Bourne is such an iconic name where it's, you know, you would think
I'm
of
just
action.
saying, people count your blessings. It could have been worse. He could have Goofy movie bounced back up and surfing on him 2 feet.
He hits the ground, bounces back up to him,
and then he shoots him. He double taps him.
They could have just been like, "Hey, where's John Landis? Let's get him in here. We'll finish the movie."
And another cool thing that I think that I'm glad that that Paul Greengrass kept over from the influence from the first movie was the scene when Bourne talks to the assassin who's dying in the last movie, where he says the same thing that the assassin told him in the first movie. They're like, look at us, look what they make you give. I thought that was a cool line and a good homage to the first movie that Paul Greengrass directed of Good Doug Lyman's.
That's good for Paul Greengrass to give credit. The executive's like, "Oh, do we have to?" And he's like, yes, we have to. Do it. Pay homage. Like, we wouldn't have these movies if it wasn't such a great first one. That's so crazy that they thought like that this wouldn't work. It's so bonkers. But then again, I get the hesitancy to be like, hey, people are gonna fall asleep. Like, they want a spy thriller, make it exciting and everything. But you know, it's like, no, I kind of want like a more individual film, you know, and. It's hard. It's hard to know. Like, it reminds me when like Fan 4 Stick came out and they're all like, you know, the executives, man, they had my back tied. And then the executives were like, we gave you total free reign.
Yeah, I think as he was filming, he was like, I screwed this up. It was the executive's fault.
Yeah. It's like, and they're like, we gave you all the money. Yeah, we're like, we gave you all the money. And he's like, release the Snyder cut.
How do you do so like, how does Fantastic Four always manage to do so little with so much cast? Like, they always have, like, amazing cast, and then they just, like, botch everything. Like, even the new
Fantastic
one, dude.
Four,
in the new one, they have Whiplash,
yeah,
Michael B. Jordan. They have, like, an amazing, like, stellar cast, and then they just...
Miles Teller, is that Whiplash? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Miles Teller. I always forget his name.
No worries, man. He's great. He's a growing star, though, for sure.
Really, he needs more work. He's
headed places. He could be the next Tom Cruise in another way. He just needs a charismatic role, I feel like. He's always the
two people in Hollywood that I feel like everyone knows about, but I feel like they don't get enough credit for how good they are, is Matt Damon and then also Bradley Cooper, dude. Every single thing I see them in, I'm just like, holy cow, they're so good in this.
You don't think that Matt Damon and Bradley Cooper...
Like, I know Matt Damon gets his due. It's just he's very selective on the projects he takes.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, and I love that Matt Damon's willing to make cameos in movies, like making a cameo in Thor Ragnarok. Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
And then
showing Matt Damon,
and then not letting his name be in the trailer for Interstellar. That's amazing. Like,
that was amazing.
You have to be so humble to do that, because most actors are like, no, I got to see my name on the theatrical trailer, and it's like, jeez.
Humble, or maybe Christopher Nolan is that big of a genius, and he's like, you're not going to have your name in it. And I hope that's okay with you, because I don't want your name in the trailer. And he's like, okay, well, to be in a Christopher Nolan film, that's what you got to do to be in the movie. Sure. I don't know. Maybe not. I think Christopher Nolan has more power at that time because he had already made The Dark Knight. And what did he make? Let's see, Inception. And what was the one of the... Was it Interstellar? Was there one other movie in between there?
Prestige, but...
Well,
Dunkirk was after. That's right. Dunkirk was after.
Yeah, Dunkirk, Memento.
What's that?
Memento, and then...
No, Dunkirk was well after.
Well, Memento was before.
Prestige. She did the Prestige in between Batman.
The Prestige, thank you. That I knew, the Prestige was the other one, too. So, yeah. You're pretty much like, dude, if you want to be in a Christopher Nolan film, I think you just do what he says, but maybe not. Maybe... I mean, but he has such a way with his...
Well, but I'm just saying,
actors.
Matt Damon does make cameos, and that's not... When you're that big, you don't have to do stuff like that.
True. But Bradley Cooper does, like, theater performances and stuff like that. He seems pretty down to earth, even though when he was totally typecast as a douchebag, by the way. And, like, his first 4 or 5 films, he's a total douchebag. And even in Hangover, he still was, but he was redeemable enough that you almost cared for him. But I don't even know if saying that out loud actually tastes good on my tongue.
He's great in Limitless as well.
Not very redeemable. What's that?
He's great in Limitless.
That's a good movie. I like that one.
Yeah, Limitless was... I think that was probably one of his breakout
Have you seen
movies,
Wedding Crashers,
sure.
Cameron? He plays a total tool in that one.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I'm saying. He was the tool in Wedding Crashers, like the worst tool.
It's got Rachel McAdams. You haven't seen it yet, Cameron? Oh my gosh.
He was also a tool in something else. It was another romantic comedy. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, look up Bradley Cooper's IMDb. It's hilarious. Cause,
he's Bradley Cooper is Rachel McAdams' boyfriend or fiance. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's got Owen Wilson.
But anyway,
and George White, Vince Vaughn.
It's an interesting discussion.
And Christopher Walken. Oh my gosh. How have I not seen this movie?
Do we recommend this movie?
Quotes?
Yes.
Is there any quotes from this movie?
I got a few
real quick?
quotes. Sorry, really quick.
The one I already quoted, but yeah, I always think that was chosen, that was born, which I don't even think is technically. It's like a mix
That's
between
not
a
in the
scripture
movie.
and this movie. Yeah.
That was Nathan botching a scripture.
Yes, it's him botching it. That's right.
I just love when the guy, when the two directors are, not directors, whatever they're called in the government are arguing, and he's like mad at him. And he's like, "Well, why don't you just go back to the office, do what you do best, and then try to, kill him with your words?" And I love that. It's so good.
Oh
Dude,
my God!
Ty, you know what movie Bradley
Chris
Cooper's so obnoxious
he
in?
plays a great.
In
Oh,
War
what's that,
Dogs,
Cameron?
dude, his glasses make his eyes so big. He's like so scary.
Oh, and Bradley Cooper, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Chris Cooper character. You know, the guy that's running the whole show, and at the end he gets taken out like Matt Damon's character in The Departed. Just at the very end, where the guy gets out of the car and you think he's for Matt Damon, you're like, oh
Yeah,
no,
because
not
you
Matt
see them
Damon, and then he
walking
gets out of the
similar-
car. Yeah, there's like a
both
similar
of them are both
alleyway
in trench coats, and so
in
you
trench
think-
coats, and then he gets out and you're like, oh no, and then he gets out of the car and just
Is
that
it-
freaking slapping silencer gun, and then he's already on the ground. He goes up and like double
Yeah, he
taps.
double
and you're
taps
just
him
like,
hard.
oh dang, that's cold. That's cold. I love it. Like I love when
it's pretty much a shock because he's telling him, I'm gonna clean this up, and then he's like no, I'm cleaning this up.
yeah, no, I love it when it gets out of hand, and then like they keep failing the higher ups, and then they just send someone to wipe you out. I just love that, and they're like, we're gonna start over.
Yes.
New management, which is great because later in the film, I actually always forget Chris Cooper's in this one because it almost seems overshadowed because the guy they get for the sequels, the guy that's always like, well, maybe you can come to my office. I'll never forget
Noah
that. And he's
Wilson?
just like,
I mean, that's
well, I
the
doubt we
character's
would be
name.
having this conversation. Why is
But-
that? It's like, because we've been having this conversation face to face, and you're just like, everybody get back to the office. That's such a great...
he's more of a Broadway actor as well, but he did excellent. He was an excellent villain, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did a good job.
But
The bureaucracy.
I forget what
Cold-hearted.
the lady's I'll have to look that one up because the one holdover from Bourne Supremacy to Bourne Ultimatum was her. It was the one lady
Julia
director.
Stiles?
I need to look her up.
Yeah, Julia Stiles.
No, not Julia Stiles. The director.
Oh, the other lady, right? Yeah. What was her name? I don't see her. Was she in the first one? Because I know
she was
she's in
not
the second and
first
third.
one.
Yeah,
Julia
yeah,
Stiles
she's in the
is
second
only one-
and
is
third.
the only one other than Matt Damon that carry over to all three.
Yes, for sure. Well, and Matt Damon. Well, except Matt Damon. Matt Damon's not even in Legacy, and I think she is, right? Her and Jeremy Renner are in it. Or is it not her? Is it someone else?
No, she has a cameo.
I don't even consider Jeremy Renner.
That's
I just feel bad because that was one of those movies where they're like, well, we have to have the Jason Bourne title to sell movie tickets, but it's like, just make your own spy caver. Make something new. Jeremy Renner's a great actor. Anyway, whatever.
the character.
Yeah.
The
The executive's like, come on, you
Landy.
gotta be under the Jason Bourne name. No one will go see it.
The actress is Joan Allen, and her role was Pamela
Joan
Landy.
Yes, Joan Allen. She's great. She's like a stoic.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me of that whole Helen Mirren meets, well, I don't know if I like Helen Mirren. Is it Helen Mirren that I don't like? Who's that one lady that... Who is that lady? I can't remember if it's Helen Mirren or not. One second. Now I feel like an idiot. Helen... Yes, I actually like Helen Mirren. I was worried. I was thinking of...
I think Helen Mirren is a good actress.
She's a great actress. It's the one I don't like is... What's her name? She was in The Post. She's that one...
What's her face? I know.
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. Overrated.
Meryl Streep.
Overrated.
Yeah, overrated. She... Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that.
Okay.
You might want to believe that one, Jordan.
No, listen. No. Hear me out. Don't edit it out because she hid Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, look it up.
Yeah,
Meryl
yep.
Streep
She
looked the other
knew-
way.
yeah,
Harvey
she knew-
Weinstein
she
raped
knew
a
all
bunch
this
of
stuff.
women.
She knew all
She
this
knew
stuff.
all of this. So yeah,
So no
this
respect
is ridiculous. Helen Mirren, love her to death. I was worried I was saying Meryl Streep, and the fact that I ever got confused with the two, I doubted myself. I'm so sorry, Helen Mirren. You deserve a posh life. Meryl Streep, you deserve
I actually watched a movie
the
of hers
can.
recently as The Good Liar. It was
Good
with
Liar.
her and Ian McKellen.
Oh wait, The Good Liar. Yes. Wait, I think I've seen that one. Right.
You think it's The Good Lie.
Oh, wait. No. But the Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen, I think I've seen this movie.
It's where like where Ian McKellen's a con man and he's trying to con her out of like her fortune.
Yes. I have seen this one.
It's
That's
a
a
dark
great
movie. It's a really dark
movie.
movie.
It is. I love Ian
I
McKellen.
prefer seeing Ian
What,
McKellen as
movie-wise, or at
Gandalf.
least-
Just saying.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so any last things you guys wanted to say about Jason Bourne?
No,
Or,
I
excuse me,
recommend it
The Bourne
100%.
Identity?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
would I recommend this film?
I recommend
Absolutely.
it, and it only gets better from here.
Yes.
Dude,
Definitely
I'm
recommend
excited
this
to
movie.
tell you what I've watched recently.
All right, dude. So, guys, recommend this movie, and we always end every podcast by sharing what we've seen lately and movies that we're looking forward to seeing. Kevin, if you want to start us out, if you have to dip early, what movies have you seen lately, and what are you looking forward to seeing?
So 100% recommended. As I said before, it's an excellent start to a trilogy. Even if it was an unintentional start, it gets better from there. And I mean, it's like you can take unintentional starts to trilogies in a very bad direction. Look at Pirates of the Caribbean. And so what I've been watching lately,
No remorse.
let's see. I've been watching a TV show, The Man in High Castle. It's fascinating. It's historical fiction combined with a little bit of sci-fi, and it's quite fascinating. And it's I'm in season 2 of 4, and it's exciting. It's a little confusing, but it's exciting. And I'm doing that and I'm watching it every day as I go run. And so it's been good.
Looking forward to anything,
Awesome.
Kevin?
What I'm looking forward to, I am curious to see the Snyder Cut. I'm curious to see it.
I've been curious
Is it
too,
gonna be
but
six-
I have
is
low
it going to be
expectations, but I'm
6-hour
curious.
episodes?
No, and so I'm actually not sure. I know it's gonna be 4 hours.
I thought it's just 4 hours. Yeah.
They accidentally released it for like an hour like last week.
That's such a
it was,
DC move.
So apparently like some people when they click on the Tom and Jerry movie for like an hour, if you press it at the right time, it showed like the first hour of the Snyder Cut.
What? Was that like a glitch, or was that intentional?
It was unintentional.
People are like strapping in for Tom and Jerry for their kids, and this dark Batman comes out on screen. Like, oh my god! Like, what is this movie for our kids? Throws a crate at someone's head or whatever. Can't remember. Wait, I don't even know the difference between any of the Justice League movies.
This one is Justice
I never
League.
saw it. I never saw Justice League. I saw Suicide Squad, and then I saw Batman vs Superman.
Suicide Squad sucked.
Are you talking about Batman vs.
Superman? I saw it for free, and I still want my money back.
Dude, how bad
and-
is it when 10 Cloverfield Lane is a better movie than your Batman vs Superman blockbuster? Like, you're talking about a cast of 3 people with a fraction of the budget, and it was a better movie, even though they had to market it as a Cloverfield
I
movie.
enjoyed Batman vs Superman more than most, just because I saw it with no expectations.
Me too.
Kevin.
I saw it in
I
the dollar
watched it-
theater,
I
and
watched
I
it-
I
enjoyed
had
it.
no
I
expectations.
saw it with you at dollar theater.
Oh,
Don't you
yeah.
remember, Jordan?
To be fair, I probably would have enjoyed it if 10 Cloverfield Lane wasn't so gosh darn good.
Yeah, kind of hard to follow that
It's
up.
not a fair comparison. Yeah, dude.
It's like the
hard
same
to
thing.
follow
You guys
up
need to
that
rewatch
movie, dude.
Fury because you guys freaking watched Fury the same night you watched Nightcrawler. You can't compete with that. Come
It's
on.
true. It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
that's
We
true.
should definitely go back. Because we watched Nightcrawler, then Fury, and we're like, well, Brad Pitt kind of let us down, man. I just watched freaking Jake Gyllenhaal kicked his with that performance, dude.
Yeah.
It's for sure.
Wait, Kevin, I forgot to ask you, what did you think about the new Jason Bourne? I haven't seen it yet. Is it worth putting on the list of add to the trilogy or no?
It's worth watching, I think, just to watch it, but it feels too much like a cash grab, like an unnecessary addition.
Bummer.
I hear that, dude.
Did you like the other
The
Bourne
studio
spin-off?
executives,
wanted to
they're
see
back.
more.
The studio executives, we need more money, huh? I spent all my money in a hot tub, huh?
I could just
so,
see him
like-
checking his message machine, his answering machine, his phone, you know, and he's got all these like voice calls. It's telling him like they want him back, the director, to make another movie.
Oh my gosh.
And so Jason Bourne, it's worth a watch, but like I mean, you won't regret your time, but you will also walk away thinking that was all right, but it wasn't.
I have a
really
perfect
necessary.
comparison. It's watching Toy Story 4 after
Yeah.
you watched Toy Story 1 through 3. You're like, what the hell are they doing to me? Like, I already finished Toy Story 3 and I cried. Okay, I cried. And you watch Jason Bourne Ultimatum, and you're like, Bourne Ultimatum, you're like, that was a perfect wrap-up to a trilogy of a spy noir.
And to put it in perspective, I think Bourne Legacy was better.
Oh, really? Okay, I did like Legacy.
Yeah, Bourne
better than
Legacy
Jason
wasn't
Bourne.
a bad movie. It wasn't a bad movie at all.
Yeah.
It just suffered from the lack of Matt Damon-ness.
Matt Damon-ness, yeah. I had his picture in the movie. That was it. Probably had to pay $1 million for that photo, too. He's like, no, I'm not going to be in it. It's like, what if we just had your photo? Hey, what if we just used your photo from one of the other movies? We got to have Matt Damon in here, huh?
And so Jason Bourne, I saw
These
that
chest toupees don't pay for themselves, huh? All right.
Jason Bourne, I suppose it's worth a watch just to see what happens, but the Ultimatum was definitely where it should have ended.
Okay, and that's still your favorite, right?
You mean the movie titled Ultimatum is where something should have ended?
Yeah, exactly.
Shocker.
It's almost like they're not self-aware. Like they should hold them. Yeah, shocker, right?
No, my
Jason Bourne, the end. The end, the finale.
I love that.
Like
movie.
Avengers Endgame. In other words, end of phase 2.
Avengers Endgame 2.
And the world of that's created by the Bourne movies is fascinating to explore, and that's what they try to do with the Bourne Legacy. But the problem is that the project is too much attached to Matt Damon to really get enough interest. Like, for example, a couple of years ago, I didn't even know about this, and again I only found out this last night. Is that they tried to make a TV show called Treadstone. It was on USA Network. It was on for a season and it got canceled. I didn't even know about it because it just didn't get enough attention because the Bourne universe, for lack of a better term, is attached too much to Matt Damon.
Yeah, that's the total. It all hinged on Matt Damon, right? It's like you had such a likable character. It's like it'd be like trying to make like the Continental, right? Try to make John Wick without
or like
John
trying to make
Wick,
Mission
right?
Impossible
it's called the
without Tom
Continental, and
Cruise.
it's all about what's
or
that?
trying to make Pirates of the Caribbean without Johnny Depp. Yes, I'm looking at you, Disney.
Hey, but mind you, Johnny Depp is kind of a parody of himself, if you will.
This is true.
Bless his
I mean,
heart.
I know, it's not like the
But
movies
my
after,
gosh,
after
was he
one
so
were any
freaking
good,
awesome in
but
that first movie.
But the Pirates of the Caribbean is ultimately attached to Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah, dude, my gosh, was he so freaking bad in that first one, dude. So cool. Didn't play by anyone's rules, man. So cool. You are perhaps the worst pirate I've ever heard of, but you have heard of me. Oh my gosh, we should do all the action films. Kevin, you're such a delight. We love having you on here.
Love having you on, Kevin.
You just birthed one of the greatest characters I've ever performed on this podcast, the Richard Studio Executive. Huh? Maybe it'll be contained. Let's not have him back on the pod.
With the most studio meddling, and then just do podcasts of those.
Yes.
Just to burst out your executive character.
We're probably going to get a bunch of people writing in, finally start writing those negative reviews and be like, these guys don't know anything about film, and they're super racist toward Italians. Oh, it's true. All right.
Cameron.
Okay, so, Kevin, any other movies that you're looking forward to seeing?
I don't know. So...
The Snyder Cut.
Well, it's because I haven't been paying attention.
There's 4 hours of my life that I'm willing to risk.
What y'all say. Probably the next TV series I'm going to watch is The Expanse. Just because...
It's 4 hours of my life I'm willing to gamble away.
So
I'm not willing to make that gamble after
Justice
League.
League. Is probably going to be The Expanse for one reason alone. Is because I hear that in that TV show, the Mormons make a giant spaceship, and I'm curious to see it.
I saw it. I didn't watch it. I watched like parts of it. My roommate watches it. Yeah, there's like a Mormon temple in it and stuff too.
I'm just so curious. I have to watch it.
Wait, The Expanse. I heard about The Expanse. I didn't know there was Mormons in it.
Well, they run like the ship and stuff, and they have like a temple and stuff. It's funny in outer space.
And they're like, if you're not willing to be a polygamist, you're not welcome to come aboard. And they're like, okay.
As from what I heard, and probably
I got Darby Weinstein's number in my phone and Meryl Streep. That lady don't notice a thing, huh? She looked the other way, if you know what I mean. Okay. That took it too far.
So from what I hear is that show is actually more respectful towards Mormons than most. From what I hear. I don't know. Jordan probably can elaborate more.
You want to watch something respectful toward Mormons? Watch Abducted in Plain Sight.
Oh my gosh, that one's rough.
Now, granted, they didn't do anything
have no
to
idea what that
Mormons.
is.
You just have two model examples of parents that let their child get abused and then kidnapped, and then both the mother and the father with this abuser. So,
Yeah.
totally worth a watch.
Yeah.
Look up Abducted in Plain Sight. It is...
I don't.
It is wild. That movie discombobulated me.
Yeah.
I
had to shower
completely
after that. I felt so
flabbergasted.
gross.
Yeah, I was
I'm
like,
not going to watch that.
if Child Protective Services existed for one family on this earth, it would have been that family right there. Like, I do not know how they were fit to be parents.
Have any of you watched, I think it's like Murder Among the Mormons?
No, but I heard that that's good too. I want to watch that one.
Yeah, me too.
I had that recommended.
Well,
of course, I canceled my Netflix subscription due to child, but
Jeez.
but I will mooch off of my other friends that pay for Netflix and that don't care.
There was
about
another.
I'd like to say I canceled my Netflix over moral purposes, and I guess part of it had to do with it, but it was much more because they kept on raising the price, and I was like, no.
He's like, child, I'll look the other way, but you raised that price to $15 a month. You lose my subscription.
It was 20.
Why do you always?
I'm willing to look the other way.
Like I was really close to canceling after that, and honestly I was going to, and then I was like, and I kept on saying, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get around to canceling. it.
Kev, there's no judgments here, dude. I don't think anyone should cancel it. Like I said, me and my family did it for personal reasons, honestly. But in the end, I just use it as an excuse to be like, oh, I haven't seen that. And I would have had I still been addicted and continuously watched Netflix. But that's why I use it as a caveat. Because I'm like, no, I haven't seen all these great movies on Netflix because I don't have one anymore. So
That's okay. There's not that.
Anything
There's so
on
much
Prime.
garbage
I'm a
on
big
there.
Prime watcher.
I don't even go on there.
Dude, I'll tell you what though, kid shows, go to Prime. They have way better kid shows than if you want to
They have
watch
lots of Mormon
something for
movies
your
on
kids.
Prime too. Have you noticed?
Yeah, lots, dude. Yeah, it's amazing. They're like, hey, the church is like, we'll let you stream. I don't know what kind of deal they have worked out. But
Like the Fighting Preacher. I like that one. That was a good one.
The Fighting Preacher.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
Isn't it a J.C. Christensen movie?
Are you referring to
TC
Velocipaster?
Christensen?
TC.
Yes, it is.
Are you referring to Velocipaster?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Velocipaster.
There's a Velocipaster movie.
What
Velociraptor
the
Pastor. Yeah.
Heck.
I thought that's what you were referring to when you said the preacher. I was
No, it's about like a married couple serving a mission in Palmyra, and their goal from the church is to purchase the land where Joseph Smith lived. And,
oh, really?
But like before, in his previous life, he was a boxer, and so that's why they call him the Fighting Preacher. And it was fascinating to watch. I mean, it's definitely good for something.
Does he have to beat somebody up for the land at the end?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. I thought it would all end on and hinge on a boxing match or something. I was like, I'd watch that.
He does try to preach by boxing, and it's pretty entertaining.
He like goes up to you and punches you in the face, and he's like, Matthew 6:24, huh? No man can serve two masters.
No, but I like Amazon selection. It's kept me happy up to this time.
Very cool.
And as far as movies go, I don't know. It's because Hollywood's been pretty slow as of late, and for good reason. And so I'll probably get my ideas of what to watch based on what y'all are gonna say.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Kevin. We just reviewed a movie called Peanut Butter Falcon, and I think you can find it on Prime right now, can't you?
Yeah. I remember seeing ads for that movie.
I think it is on Prime. It was, at least at one point. Definitely watch that movie. We just reviewed it. It's a wonderful film. I think you and Karen would love it. Okay. Cameron, why don't you go first? You were dying to go, and I feel bad. You've just been bursting at the seams with excitement, Texting Wimix. You've been texting Wimix on your phone this whole time.
What's Wimix? I was trying to say women.
It's the appropriate term for women without the word man in women, so it's called Wimix.
Wimixin.
Put an X instead
Wimixin.
Wimixin. Oh, excuse me. Wimixin.
Come on, Ty. Get with the...
We mixin'?
In fact, but it is transphobic somehow.
By using the correct terminology.
But wait, but it is offensive though, right? Because they got into hot water with transgender men because transgender men are women. So they're offended by it, right?
They don't want you to.
No, but it is offensive. So
Anyway,
I think the
can I
correct
talk
term
about
is
what
women.
movies I've been watching?
One second. I want to make sure that our
listeners
listeners know that we take this very seriously.
Sounds like we
I
Mexican.
don't want people to be offended. They can think whatever I want about Italians because I am racist toward Italians. But I don't want them to think that I am transphobic.
We got the mafia coming at our door.
Yeah, but at least it won't be the cancel
I think
culture
they have
mob.
better things to do than worrying about people making Italian stereotypes.
Dude, I'm more worried about Hillary Clinton coming after me. So just keep that out in the podcast. I will never commit suicide. I will never.
I cannot
commit suicide.
believe Ty committed suicide.
I cannot believe Hillary Clinton made it look like it was a suicide. I cannot believe Hillary Clinton made it look like a suicide.
With 2 bullets to the back of the head.
Yeah. It was a suicide. All right, Cameron, hit us up, dude. What have you been watching, Cameron? I want to know. What's going on in your world?
Oh my gosh.
Have you been watching You?
No, I finished that a couple weeks ago.
Have you watched Me yet?
So I just finished the last 2 episodes of WandaVision, and I don't know.
I did watch that.
Finishing the last 2 episodes of WandaVision kind of just put me in the Marvel mood, and so I went and watched the last 3 or the remaining 3 Marvel movies that I hadn't watched out of all of them. So I watched
Captain Marvel.
The Marvel mood. That should be like, I don't know, a T-shirt or something, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the MM, man. I'm in the
so
Marvel mood.
I watched
M&M.
Iron Man 2. I had seen the race car scene like 8 times. Okay, honestly, because I went in with such low expectations, I thought it was like a solid C film. Like I was decently entertained, and like there were some pretty fun parts to it, but it wasn't like as terrible as everyone was telling me. At least I didn't think so.
I
Robert
want
Downey
my
Jr.
birth.
just carried that movie.
Yeah.
Let me just
Like he
reiterate to
does
you
for
real quick.
Every movie he's in
Let me
Marvel
just
Cinematic
explain to you. The guy has untold knowledge and wisdom and power,
Makes
and
whips,
he
I'm aware.
puts all of his energy into making electrical whips.
My bird. My bird.
My birds, my
I
board.
want my bird.
Bird. And then
Is this a real bird?
I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, and that is a very enjoyable film. Me and Jordan kind of talked about it. The second half is not as good. The first half is so
First
funny.
half is fun.
And I love Michael Pena. That dude is so fun. He's amazing in End of Watch.
Oh my gosh.
Just anything he's in.
He's great.
He's so
The
funny.
best and only Latino character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, he's
The only Latino?
Yes, he's the only Latino in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Come on, we need more Latinx representation,
I love
folks,
it.
huh?
I love it
Don't
when
say
he,
that
I-
to Karen. She will punch you.
Wait, I thought Latinx is the most appropriate cultural appropriation title I can
I don't
get.
care.
Is
Shush.
it
Okay.
wrong?
Anyway, like I was saying, I think I love the line that he has where he's like, even if I had a suit with minimal powers, like, honestly, I'd even take a suit without any powers, like a suit with no powers. I just love him so much. Michael Pena is so awesome. And then I also watched Captain Marvel. I think because I went in with
Dude, your Marvel mood or whatever you want to call it, where you go and watch the worst Marvel, scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
There's a
man.
reason why they were the last 3 I hadn't watched, Ty.
I have still yet to watch Captain Marvel, and guess what? I will watch that movie after I have 2 shots to the back of my head. And even then, you couldn't take my eyelids open and watch it then.
Ty, it's the perfect movie to watch while you're playing Call of Duty campaign, because that's all I was doing. I was just playing Call of Duty campaign and just looking over every once in a while. I'm like, oh, Nick Fury. And,
You want to talk about the most uncharismatic person
Brie
in the last
Larson
decade,
is a
Brie Larson.
terrible actress.
Which
And the
makes no
most
sense.
unlikable-
I
and the
loved
most
Room.
unlikable person.
Room was an incredible movie. An incredible movie. Room was an incredible movie. Not The Room, Tommy
was gonna
Wiseau,
say,
but Room.
you have to-
Brie
you have to
Larson,
make
where
this
she's a
clarification.
kidnapped.
And
That's
then,
an amazing
The
movie.
Room is incredible for very different reasons.
And then I also
Yes.
I finally watched John Wick 2.
I did not. Hi, Mark.
We should watch that movie again. Have Kevin on to talk about it. Sorry, Cameron, go ahead.
I also finally finished John Wick Chapter 2 because I had seen 1 and 3. I'd seen 3 twice and 1 once.
What do you think? What's your order? What's the
You
ranking?
guys way underdid it. It's such amazing. So I was telling
It's
Jordan,
good.
it's just a recency bias. Part of me, I'm like, oh, that might be better than 1, and I'm just like, oh, I haven't seen 1. I need to rewatch 1. I definitely think 3 is better than 2, but I don't remember 1 enough to be able to.
Yeah.
But 2, like John Wick Chapter 2, I would give it an 8 out of 10. It's such a fun film.
Oh yeah, it's still like, again, you want to talk about trilogies? That's right up there with the Bourne series.
Well, I just said I overhyped it. Is all I
It's the
said.
weakest.
I just said I overhyped
for
it.
sure. No, and then because that was perfect because I think I underhyped it. I went in being like, okay, this is gonna be the worst of the trilogy, which it was fantastic. And then I also watched Extraction. Holy cow! It had a lot of Jordan. You need to rewatch it because it has a lot of John Wick-esque moments.
No, he needs to watch it. He didn't watch it.
I watched
He
the first
started
30 minutes and I was bored out of my mind.
before the
Bored out of
action
your
before the action kicks in where he transports the boy. You should
Are you
probably
kidding me?
watch
But dude, that
the
first
action
scene,
set
Jordan, you
pieces,
can't tell me
Jordan.
that first scene doesn't remind you of John Wick when he's just fetching just owning all those people. When he smashes that guy's face into the rake. Oh my gosh. That was totally the John Wick knife
Probably didn't even
scene.
get that far. He didn't even get that
I
far.
skipped
dude.
to see that fight and I was just like,
Jordan, that's the thing, though. See, like, I always thought, like, oh, let's get to the action set piece. But if you're not emotionally invested or involved,
it's true.
the action
No,
kinda
it
falls
changes
flat.
the movie, yeah.
Chris Hemsworth had an
Just so
amazing
you know,
performance. Like, he did a really good job.
Well, and again, one thing to its credit, I would definitely watch the making. You have so much more appreciation of how they got the shots. They literally strapped a guy to the hood of a car, and they're driving, and as soon as he, parked, he unbuckled himself and followed Liam Neeson. It's an amazing... it's, like,
pretty awesome.
impressive how they filmed this. It would have
You
been
mean
very
Chris
easy
Hemsworth,
just
not
to do
Liam
the
Neeson?
standard... Oh, wait. Oh, did I say Liam Neeson?
Yeah.
That's a Liam...
No, but I also...
I don't know who you are, but you're my Indian little treasure boy, and I'm going to get you to safety.
I also watched
So
No
funny.
Country for Old Men with Grant. It's such an amazing movie. Grant was like, that was the worst movie I've ever seen. He's like, I've never been so unsatisfied watching a movie. He was like, that was the most
Yes,
anticlimactic
I'm
movie
so glad
ever.
he was. I hated it the first
Yeah,
time I watched
I hated
it too.
it
I was
too,
like,
Cameron.
wait, I missed it. I was like, I missed the meaning of it.
I was
Watch some video as it
I was
is.
the only
Every frame of
person
painting.
am I the
and-
only person that liked it on my first watch? I was like, I loved it on the first watch, and I was telling Grant about it.
I'm
and then
proud of you.
He watched it, and he was like,
to be
It's
fair,
the
Cameron,
ending.
I loved the first time I watched it, except the ending. I was
Yeah.
super upset because I was like, wait, what? I didn't even get that the cowboy...
Had died because they show a faraway shot. And I'm like, wait, what?
You only can tell by his shirt that identifies Josh Brolin's character because I didn't recognize
and
him.
you can tell by the
So, yeah.
mustache, on the ground.
True, briefly. But again, I watched it and I was like, oh, like, that's terrible. What
Grant
happened
was like,
there?
he's
And
like,
then,
they
all
have
of
to
a sudden
show the
movie
showdown. It's like, are you kidding me? You can't just like show him dead. And I was like, well, it's real life.
Yeah,
dude.
Cameron, I go back and watch 3 scenes. I watched the opening scene where he strangles the cop. I watched the cow compressor.
Yes.
I watched the shotgun where he goes up to his bedroom.
Yeah.
And then I watched the scene where he blows up the car outside the pharmacy. I watched those 4 scenes. Oh, and see, I can't even stop. And the
whole
in
movie.
exchange with the gas guy, the guy at the convenience store. I watched those 5 scenes
Heads or tails.
like once
Solid.
every month. I'm not kidding. Like I will watch those 5 scenes and I'll just watch them. I just think they're so.
I love how
good.
she
the most you ever lost
I
in the
love how
coin
she wanted
toss
to give
is
him
like
the satisfaction of saying heads or tails. She's like, no, this is you're doing this. Nope, I'm not gonna let you say that it was fate. Like you're doing this. You're the monster. And I
dude
was
when
like,
he
"Tell him."
dude when he fetching it's just like I need to stand what I have to lose everything. It's just
Yeah,
like
and you're
oh
like-
my god. I get goosebumps when I see him, dude. He's like when he chokes on his candy that he's eating or his
Oh, dude,
peanuts or something.
the
He's just
chick-
like
I feel so-
you married into it. He's like you married into this like.
Yeah.
Dude, that scene is so great. Kevin, you want to watch a good movie? No Country for Old Men. Look that one
I
up.
definitely will have to get around to that. I did actually have a
That's
couple.
such
I
a
actually had a couple. I had one extra thing I wanted to say, and a question that I want each of you to answer.
Yeah.
One, and when Cameron mentioned Unknown, I just realized like Unknown is basically a carbon copy of the Bourne Identity. It basically is, except just with one perspective.
Yes, it really is.
And then my question is, what movie that is generally accepted as popular you don't like?
Oh, generally accepted that I don't like. Oh, anything starring Meryl Streep. No. Let's see. What's the movie that ever? Oh, I hate. What's the movie? Well, I'd say Shutter Island. I don't hate it per se, but yeah, I'm like Scorsese. you're
Man
much
from
better than
Uncle
this.
is my movie. Don't care for it.
Yeah, Jordan. Yeah, for whatever reason, I can't get Jordan to like Man from Uncle. That is
I
an
never saw
amazing
it.
film.
I never saw it.
Yeah.
I
Man
should
from
watch it.
Uncle
better off.
is
I meant to watch it.
incredible. Kevin, watch Man from Uncle. That is such a good movie. It's a great movie. If you want to watch a spy caper to enjoy, for everyone to enjoy, Man from U.N.C.L.E., holy crap, it's a good movie. Jordan has a personal beef with Henry Cavill because he once said in an interview when they were like, hey, would you like to be in the next Star Wars film? And he goes, I don't know, I'd have to read a script first. But to his credit, he's not from, what is he, UK?
To his
He's
credit,
from the UK,
have you
right?
has he read Superman v Batman? Did he even read that script or read Superman and think, oh, this is a great script?
I can't imagine how much money that guy is making being Superman, dude. I can't even. Hey,
for
Man
his
of Steel
body,
was a
not for his
great
acting, I'm sorry.
First film. I know a lot of people have issue with the fight on Earth. I love Man of Steel.
Do you know
I thought
what?
it
Do you
was a
know
great
what
movie.
Rachel
I haven't
just
seen it
texted
since
me,
I
Ty?
first saw it, but-
She says, "I just watched a movie with Henry Cavill, and he reminds me of you." I'm like, what?
Wait, Rachel? Like
Yes.
the Rachel?
Yes.
She who must not be
You're
named.
still in contact with her?
No, she just
Yeah,
texted me.
you're
She texts me about once a year. Anyway, she texts me out of the blue, and then she's like, "You remind me of him," and I'm like, "Well, that's hilarious because I hate him."
And you're like, and I hate myself, so it all works out. Fine. Okay.
I think,
Dude,
I think
Henry Cavill.
my
But
two-
I said to his credit, he's from the UK, so he doesn't have a relationship to Star Wars that we all did. So I totally, and like, what does he have to go off of? Half of the Star Wars movies suck. I mean, suck.
I think
The new ones.
I think Star Wars movies suck.
Especially when we're talking present. Like the new Star Wars movies gave me an appreciation for the prequels. That's what they did for me.
They exist to remind me of a better time.
Yeah.
Dude, I will say, I love Force Awakens. I will defend that one to the death. I know
Yeah,
it was a
that's
soft
really
reboot
good.
or a harsh reboot, whatever you want to call it. That's an amazing, exciting film.
and that's
And
that's
yes,
the other
it is
miracle the
laughable
Last
when they
Jedi
said a
did.
bigger Death Star. I get it. But it
That-
was
that's
an
the miracle
amazing
the
film.
Last Jedi did. The Last Jedi made me hate The Force Awakens.
The Last Jedi. Okay, I don't even remember which one. Is that the Rise of Skywalker? Is
That's
the
milk.
ninth?
That's milk one. That's Luke Skywalker drinking the milk one.
Where he milks the space cow.
It's Space Cow, if you can call it that, dude.
Okay.
Okay, wait. So which one, Kevin? You said which one
I think
made
it's
you
Cameron's
hate?
turn.
Yeah.
What movie is generally accepted and popular that you hate?
I think 2 would kind of be like a solo story. I know a lot of people don't really like it, but I don't think people have the same hatred that I have towards it. I've never been so like angry after a film. I don't know why. I just like
Yes.
was
I didn't finish
so
it, Cameron.
mad.
I was so uninterested.
And then I think
Have
another one.
any of you watched the YouTube channel Mauler? That where he just like takes apart all the Star Wars films. It's awesome. All the new ones at least.
And then also I think Rogue One. I don't know. I just felt like the most human and the best like character development in that show was of the robot.
It's a
And I'm
robot.
like-
Yeah.
And then like everyone I talked to was like, "Oh yeah, it's like one of the best newest ones."
I can't
And I'm
tell if
just
that's a criticism or that means it's really well done. Like,
It's-
yeah, the robot was a really interesting character.
Well,
but
it was
there's nothing wrong
more
with that.
human than all the other characters because all the other characters are freaking bland as shiz. I don't even remember anyone from that movie.
My biggest disappointment was that
Except
half
for
of the
I
stuff
Will
they
with the
promised in
Force,
the
the
trailer
Force
weren't
One,
delivered. They had to
But
do
dude,
a
the
rewrite
hallway
because I
scene,
guess it
come
was
on.
too dark. No, see, I actually like what both of you were saying. The hallway scene was very fun, but it almost was unnecessary because the whole movie was actually promising that there wouldn't be Jedi, and then they had that scene. But again, I'm not to gripe on that because they actually did that again in The Mandalorian, but whatever. What I thought was interesting is that what you said, Cameron, about how, yeah, the people that were most human, I actually think the movie actually got really, really dark, and that's why they had to do a bunch of reshoots. There was even the scene where she was dressed up in Imperial armor. And I'm like, oh, she's going to play double agent, or they're going to do some dark stuff
they cut
there.
all
But
that.
they had to do rewrites because apparently it was too dark.
that
And
was
I'm like,
another movie in
oh,
which they
too dark of a
basically
Star
rewrote
Wars
the
film?
third act.
Please give me that. But the studio's executives were like, hey, it's too dark for Star Wars, huh? Gotta be a movie family feature. So they messed it up, dude.
So yeah, so what I'm looking forward to, I really want to finish the rest of the Bourne Legacy or the Bourne trilogy, and then
Have you seen them, Cameron? You haven't seen them, have you?
Nope, never
or have
seen
you
them.
seen the other ones?
oh, and, then,
Oh,
and also
dude, just wait for Supremacy and Ultimatum.
Ultimatum.
Oh, dude, that
Ultimatum
movie is
is
so.
awesome.
Cameron, there is a jaw-dropping action set piece in that movie where you are holding your breath. I'll just say it that way. I can't wait for you to see it.
And then also what I've been watching, and I'm looking forward to finishing, what we've been watching as an apartment, is Band of Brothers. Holy cow. Just gives you such an appreciation for our freaking country, dude. And it's just like, we were just talking about how sad it is. Like, you just spend like 6 months just building these friendships, and then you're like, a guy's head will just get blown off while mid-sentence while talking to you. And it's just like, and you just have to keep going on. You just have to keep moving. Like, you just can't, like, oh no, like you can't like, have no time to mourn, like you have no time to sleep. It's just, it's so ridiculous, dude. They freaking go through so much. Yeah.
In the wise words of that one man, I ain't got time to bleed.
No, I
Predator.
I love it. I think it's in Hacksaw Ridge or it's in Band of Brothers. He says that war is hell when he's talking.
I need to watch the Hacksaw Ridge. I really do. I've seen like the best scenes from it, but I need to watch the whole thing.
It's amazing.
And then
Hacksaw Ridge is
also
good.
another thing I'm really looking forward to is, holy cow, I saw the trailer for it. Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. It's
Michael B. Jordan, right?
Yeah,
That
Michael B. Jordan. It looks really solid. I'm really excited about it. It's got like a pretty solid cast. And then
Michael B. Jordan and Friends.
Yeah, and then also I'm excited for, after finishing the WandaVision as well, to hear about the new Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm pretty confident. Marvel's done a really good job at keeping it pretty interesting.
Kevin and Jordan, have you guys both seen Wanda yet or not?
Yeah, I finished it.
You finished it? Oh, good. Has Kevin finished it or not?
Yes, I finished it.
Okay, perfect. Real quick, I actually wanted to ask you guys' opinion on it because while we're here, because I don't know if I ever want to do an episode about it, but because there's so many Marvel movies I'd rather do.
Yeah.
But like, what are you guys' overall opinion of it? Because I'll be honest, I almost think that they made a mistake. Well, here's the thing. I have a theory. I think that the directors of the first and second episode were like, I really want to do a sitcom, like and like in modern day, but like as a callback to the earlier films. And I get that they link it back into the story, but it's like, I don't want to call it milking it or wasting time or whatever you want to call it.
Could have
one
done
episode?
could have done the setup in one
It
episode.
should have been
One. It should have been one.
because the problem was, the first and second episode are identical and they are callbacks to the whole, like, okay, Leave It to Beaver or whatever it was, right? The Bewitched.
Yeah,
And then
and that's the thing,
Malcolm
too.
in the Middle,
Okay,
even, like,
that's-
I got it. And it just, those kids were not as charismatic as that Malcolm in the
Yeah.
Middle kid.
What
just gonna
bothered
say
me-
it. So that bothered me because I was like,
I
I
like
watched
the
Malcolm in the
callback,
Middle
though.
and
I
that
like the
shit.
callback.
I like the callback, yes. I actually liked the theme song. That was the best part when they did like the garage band and the dad being an idiot, Vision being kind of the goof and the...
What bothered
I love
me-
all that. But to me, it was like those two kids were not nearly as charismatic as that Malcolm in the Middle
Well,
kid
because with child
was. So
actors, it's always hit and miss.
Well,
it is.
well,
And I feel bad because those
But
kids were
more
fine
optimistic
in the end. But I'm not going to hold any punches. Those kids kind of stunk, in my opinion. I mean,
It
they were
really
okay.
just made me want to watch those shows. Like, that's all it did. I was like, I just want to go and
like,
watch
I was
those
like,
shows.
I would love to go back and
Well,
watch.
it's because the thing is, like, I don't want to harp too much about like the critique it too much because
Do it, Kevin. Critique it.
because it was an ambitious project and it was a unique project.
But so here's my
so
gripe. See, I agree with you, but this is Marvel we're talking about. You guys, you're Disney. You're the most powerful media creators on earth. I mean, like, really, you own the rights to everything that is consumed by us. What I'm saying is, I actually really okay. So we're going to talk about it. Heavy spoilers. If you have not watched Wanda and Vision, do not listen. I did not like the reveal. I loved the Kathy Hahn. I loved that actress. But I did not care that she was a witch that was doing the whole thing.
Yeah,
it really bothered me.
that was weird.
I preferred.
She's not a good
It was
villain.
Wanda, and it was a story about coping with post-traumatic
Yeah.
stress, depression, anxiety.
Like, why
it
was
a
there
much
even a
better,
villain?
Serious. I didn't like that there was a
was
villain.
so weird.
Yeah,
That was the best thing
And
is
I
that
told
Wanda,
my wife. I
like-
predicted it. I told my wife. I said, "There's going to be a villain in this movie because they're not going to allow Wanda to be." All jeopardized
going to be a
morally
villain at
speaking
some
because
point.
Disney has a habit of doing one of two things. They will make your character irredeemable and they have to commit the self-sacrifice at the end and they have to go away. Case in point, Rey and Kylo Ren. Let's kiss at the end because we have this emotional buildup and now you have to die.
Stupid.
Are you mortally wounded? No. Do you have to die? You have to die now. You have to go the way of all the earth because there's just too many questions. It's too complicated. We couldn't answer all of them. Would he stand trial? Would he go to jail forever? He's dead. Don't have to think about it anymore.
Just love the fact that you almost
What?
broke into the studio executive.
So
for that.
I called it. The problem I had with... Now, listen, I actually really like that actress. I love... I think her name's Kathy Hahn. I can't remember her name. She plays the nosy neighbor. She's
Cameron's
hilarious. Cameron's wife? Yeah, one of Cameron's
I
wives.
just love the fact that because like I recognize her from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, she's a hilarious actress. She's
crazy
very
with-
funny. In fact,
with-
she played the role really
Trigger.
well of the nosy neighbor. But what really bothered me again was like the bait and switch, where it's like, oh, I'm the one that's been doing all of this all along, and it's like, so what are we to believe here? Like, did she created the bubble and then she saw it and then went into her bubble? Was she ever mind controlled? She set up the rune stones, and then all of a sudden Wanda knows how to set up rune stones. I was really disappointed with that ending. The better ending was Vision. The better ending was Vision. I love that he was willing to talk to himself, and he's like, it reminded me so much of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World when he fights Nega Scott.
Yeah.
When he fights the opposite version. Yeah, because he's like all white and like, you know, blacked out or whatever, and they fight, and they're like for 5 seconds, and then they just talk, and they're like, yeah, why are we fighting each other? It's so great, because I'm like, that's probably what would happen if I faced one of my evil self. Like, if I faced my evil self, I would talk to him and be like, why are we fighting each other? Oh, I was programmed to do it. Oh, and you removed some memories from me, so that way I would try to hate you or kill you. And then he gives them the memories, and they're like, all right, I'm Vision. Bye. And they literally did it so they don't have to say goodbye to fetching Vision, which is another thing. Now they're retroactively going back and saving heroes that now his sacrifice means nothing in Infinity War.
Yeah,
guys, we all mourned over Vision. I didn't feel anything when everyone disappeared because I'm like, oh, they're going to be fine. Vision fetching died. His head was torn out of his head.
Ripped out of him twice.
Ripped out of his skull from Thanos. It removes the emotional weight that we built off of these stories that already existed in place. And they're like, well, we might need another 8 seasons of Wanda and Vision. Like, I'm like, just fetching, let it go, man. Let us grieve. It's like, he's back. He's back. And he's better than ever. He's in new colors. Buy the new toys, kids. That's freaking, hey, we could have more toys and representation from Wanda and Vision here. It made me so pissed. It made me so pissed. I'm glad I'm grieving this because I wanted to like Wanda and Vision. And I loved seeing episodes 3 through 4 or 5. And they were so good. And I was like, this is an incredible show dealing with complex emotions like PTSD, post-traumatic stress, and grief, and all that stuff. The fact that she was blocking all of it out, I was like, this is brilliant. And then I also didn't understand the reveal where she's like, you're the Scarlet Witch, dun dun dun, and I'm like, yeah, my McDonald's Happy Meal told me that she was the Scarlet Witch. That's not a fetching reveal, movie. No, but, okay, like seriously, we already knew this garbage. It just, anyway.
There was a lot of like setup saying well, they said like, oh, she's actually in control, that there's something else at work, because, well, for one, those little commercials had a lot of Easter eggs revealing other characters,
right?
And then also like anyone who follows like the Marvel comic books knew that Agnes was somebody bigger, because Agatha Harkness shortened to Harkness or Agnes. As that.
Right, and I like her character, like I said,
and too is it talks about when she's revealing about being the Scarlet Witch. It talks about how the only person who can control, or that the Scarlet Witch is even almost more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, who is Doctor Strange. So that's what is linking itself into Doctor Strange.
Well, and like, the old
multiverse of madness.
Yeah. Yes. Well, good. So Doctor Strange, the male, is more powerful than Wanda. Is that what?
I can't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure it said that like
the male is more powerful than the woman. It's a very important lesson here, folks. You learned it from Disney. Thank you for teaching me that the patriarchy is alive and well.
Stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. I'm not sure though. Or maybe it's this only person.
The Sorcerer Supreme. He still doesn't. She just still doesn't have a good of a title. Sorcerer Supreme.
And that's making me hungry for some Taco Bell. Hey, I'm thinking. The only reason I think that 3 episodes, I don't think it necessarily worked. I think they could have done it in 1. But the reason I thought maybe it made sense is because like I literally felt trapped, and I was like, I have to watch these stupid 3 episodes, and just like the people. You know, that were trapped in that world of hers. You know, like especially the ones on the outskirts that don't move. They're just standing there.
That's hilarious. Just standing like trapped. Yeah. It reminded me of Rick and Morty in the simulation. They had to turn down the power to low so they could keep it running because they had 2 people there. So like they started glitching, and the people on the outside of the simulation are farther away from the simulation. Like for Jerry.
Jerry's thing. Like, this is a great idea.
His pitch for apples,
and that Jerry ends up making love to his wife as like a total dummy.
Total simulation, dude. Yeah, it reminded me of that. So yeah, Jordan, that was actually really good. In fact, I bet they're like, yeah, we intended it to be torture. It's like, good job, movie. You did it. You tortured everyone that watched it. Now, to be fair, I really was excited at where it was headed, and I feel bad because it's like, I don't know how I would have changed it, but Yes, it had the laughable, oh, I'm the villain, I'm the author of all your pain.
She even did a maniacal laugh.
But I did like how
Yes,
they
she
how
did
they
cackle,
leaned
and
into
she's
it.
great.
Like they leaned into like with the entire Agnes was behind it all.
Dude, yes, like it was
I thought
literally
that was-
like,
that was pretty
and
clever.
it was literally a flashback. They're like, hey, recognize this scene where I was here? I was actually planning to be there, or I was doing something nefarious, and you're like, okay, like great.
Dude,
now
no,
we're going back
what
in
I-
time
what
to
I
watch all
loved,
this stuff again.
My favorite episode was the episode
Gosh.
that Quicksilver from X-Men comes in, and like she's like,
Yes.
That was
sees him
that
as
was,
his
so
dad.
such a
awesome.
buzzkill.
And
I
she's,
love-
and she's
I-
like, oh my gosh, like what are you?
That
and-
was great.
and he's
No,
like, I'm your
Cameron,
uncle,
you
guys.
do realize that he played Cameron, you realize that he played Quicksilver in Days of Futures Past? He played
X-Men
Quicksilver,
in
the
the
same
boxes,
character in the
yeah.
X-Men universe.
Yeah, I know. That's what I
And because
just said.
technically,
And then they just played it off as a joke that his name is Boner and he's some nobody. And I was like, okay,
well, because they didn't
whatever,
have the
but-
rights to it, Ty, but he was technically in.
Oh, they do have the rights to it.
What?
They do. Yeah, Disney bought the rights to all
Jordan,
of Fox's
Disney
properties.
is so powerful. They own you. You just don't know it yet, okay?
They actually do own the show. You can watch on Netflix.
I'm afraid of Mickey Mouse and Hillary teaming up and shooting me 4 times in the back of the head. So real quick, I just
piece of
I
paper.
could not say-
Disney did it, and Clinton.
That's my.
It's made like this entire thing is maybe a gain of appreciation for South Park.
Yes.
I know, right, dude? I gotta say, so in the end, I'm sorry if you guys watched the WandaVision and loved it. I think it's fine. You can love it for what
I
it is.
still enjoyed it because it's my guilty pleasure.
Yes, no, and Cameron
By
again.
episode 4, I enjoyed it.
I don't think it was
Episode
bad,
4 you enjoyed?
but it could have been a lot better.
1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will be honest.
A lot of wasted
Here's
potential.
what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this one time. Disney, grow some friggin' okay? Commit.
Just talk to the
Let one
produ-
of your
just talk to the
superheroes
producers
turn
of
to a
Game of
villain.
Thrones.
For Pete's sake.
She's going to be a villain.
Please.
Well,
What's
Ty,
that?
she's going to be a villain, or at least the evil side of her is going to be a villain. Like because
Evil
the
side-
thing
what
is
are you
that
talking
that's
about?
why this is the first time they called her the Scarlet Witch, because the Scarlet Witch is a villain. So she's going to be. This is setting up for her to be the villain to Doctor Strange.
Oh, well, that makes me
but
just
that-
a little bit excited. But
That's-
then
that's
why
what I-
not
see,
commit?
that's
Because
what I
you
wish
just
they would've
you
done
just
it,
made
Ty,
it.
where if
She
they-
literally
they-
wrapped it
if
up
Vision
and
would've- if she would've
she
had
did
to-
leave the city and everyone was pissed at her. I
Ty,
get
you-
that.
You
but-
didn't watch the post-credit scenes then.
I did watch the post-credit scenes, which again is another sin. Why did they have post-credit scenes at the end of some episodes and not some others?
Yeah.
What the fudge,
Yeah.
folks? What the? And get this, 2 end credit scenes in one or
minute
two of the
post.
episodes. Yes, what the fudge, Disney? What's wrong with you? Gosh, dang it! Because guess what? My Netflix subscription, no, was it Disney Plus? It
Disney
says
Plus.
start the next episode. It says play the next episode before the end credit. When you know that you have programmed an end credit sequence, why would you give the option to play the next episode? I didn't click play. It automatically starts the next episode before I
because
watch the end credit
Netflix
sequence.
is the only
Do you,
one.
Disney Plus?
Ty, no, it's because Netflix is the only
Help you out,
streaming service that has their programming down to a T. Other ones, it's like I'm not even finished with the movie, and all of a sudden it starts
Okay,
to skip. It's like next
Let's
episode.
wrap
You're like,
this
wait a
up.
minute, I'm not
Let's
done
wrap
yet.
this up. I'm hungry as shit
Amazon
and I have
Prime is
homework.
terrible at that.
Yeah, we do need to wrap
You
this
can
up.
get
Ty.
off. I'm
It's-
not wrapping this up. Everyone else can get off. I need to rant some more. I got this big freaking thing on my chest. I
okay,
gotta
let's
get
just
off.
end
Cameron,
the-
any other movies that you've seen lately? Or?
Oh man.
No, that's everything I've seen and what I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to. Sorry, just real quick. What's it called? The Accountant.
That's a good one.
Ben Affleck and Jennifer Kendra or whatever, or
Anna
Kendra.
Kendra.
What's her name? Kravik. Anna Kendra.
Kendrick.
That's right.
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick. See, I knew we were all
Annika
saying it wrong.
Kendra.
Yeah, Anna Kendra.
You're thinking of Danica Patrick,
That movie is. I don't know who that is, Kevin. So I couldn't have possibly been
female
thinking
race car
about that first.
driver.
Your worst
Women
nightmare.
can
It's
drive?
It's your worst nightmare.
Women can drive professionally. What? As long as they're not the supreme drivers, that's
How
okay.
are you
with
still
me.
married, Ty?
As long as they're not the supreme drivers. That part's reserved for Benedict Cumberbatch
All right,
and,
I'm getting
and
off.
friends. Okay.
Peace.
Oh, Cameron, I have so much more sexist material prepared. Okay. Peace and blessings, bro.
But Jordan didn't answer the question. What movie is generally accepted as popular that he doesn't like?
I did.
Yeah.
I said Man from Uncle.
Oh, Man from Uncle.
Yeah,
Oh,
Man from Uncle.
Yeah,
You
for
should
me,
watch that one,
Arrival.
Kevin. It's a
I do
great.
not like Arrival.
Oh, Kevin, I watched that 3
What?
times in the
You don't like
theaters.
Arrival?
I do not.
Dude,
like
no
Ryan.
way.
Love.
Kevin, I will say, have you seen any of other Danny Villeneuve's work? Have you seen Prisoners? Have you seen... I would highly recommend that you watch the movie Prisoners. That's a good exposure because it still hits a lot of the beats that you would enjoy. I don't know if you like crime and noir.
Yeah, I like it.
That's definitely one to watch. I don't want to give anything away.
I didn't like Prisoners the first time, though, so I don't know.
Jordan said it was too slow. Kevin, you're intelligent enough to get it, so you go ahead. Jordan's like, it didn't have enough explosions. I need body surfing in my film, huh? That's Jordan. Dude, Kevin, did Cameron say that he loved the body surfing part? Because you kept saying it was his favorite part.
He first said he loved it.
Did he say
I didn't mean to tear him on that, but I got
I love that every time you're like, hey, Cameron, I know it's your favorite part, but I'm going to... You're
because
wrong.
he said that at the beginning. He said that in the beginning. That was his favorite part. And so I was just like,
Cameron is a Michael Bay fan, so, you know.
Yeah, he's Michael Bay, dude. He's all the... Oh, I love what he said about Hacksaw Ridge episode, Jordan. I listened to it. Cameron was like, oh, dude, at first I was just going to skip through all the romantic, stuff at the beginning. But then he goes, I'm actually liking these characters, and maybe this is more important than blood and guts. And I was like, oh, my gosh. Maybe this is more important than all the blood and guts and gore. I thought that was so funny when he said that. But anyway, dude, WandaVision, guys, it's good. It's all good. I feel bad for ragging on it. I just grow up, Disney. Like, commit. And what you're saying now, Kevin, if she's going to be the villain, awesome. Because now there's a more emotional, there's more at stake. Like, I feel like they are so afraid to let go of IP now. It's like, you can literally create someone. Look at what happened to Guardians of the Galaxy. You can create something out of nothing. No one knew the source material.
Tree, and they made them
Yeah. And you made them iconic superstars. Okay? And again, what I'm saying is commit. Do something. Make her a villain. Hardcore. Don't bring in Agnes and all this. Again, I don't know. Like, maybe they'll make up for it. Maybe they'll be like, oh, this is all part of our master plan. Look at this. Remember that series? Look how it ties into this. And look, isn't it perfect the way it is? And again, I'm just saying, great example was Winter Soldier, Bucky and Captain America. Now that is a pair up because evenly stakes, the stakes are there. Captain America can't let his friend die. He's trying to redeem him, but he's going to kill Captain America. What is he to do? Civil War was another good one, pair up. But again, you're like, no one's going to die. It's going to be fine. But then they had to falling out afterwards, and then there was emotional stakes. I was like, Captain America and Iron Man are not on speaking terms. What's that?
Then forgotten immediately by the next movie.
Yeah.
And completely, again, see, and that's why sometimes I'm like, go ahead, Disney, challenge us. Make us question whether or not we can root for somebody. Like, it makes me laugh. It's like, so childish. Take off the kid gloves.
The TV show format allows you to explore these things a lot more.
Yes, Kevin, that's exactly my point. You wasted 3 episodes giving us an homage to Leave It to Beaver, to Malcolm in the Middle, and to Family Matters. Or what was that?
I Love Lucy.
I Love Lucy. Yeah, whatever. The black and white one was very akin to Bewitched and I Love Lucy.
A lot.
But it's a callback to a lot of those things. But maybe I know that the TV shows they actually had and the ones they referenced, that I Love Lucy.
And Brady Bunch.
And what was the 70s one? Was it Brady Bunch or what was it?
I think
There's a huge list of them.
Right. But those 3 TV shows that were in the suitcase, right? And they had Malcolm in the Middle as one of them as well. And I was like, I get it. Yeah. Right, yeah. And it had those 3 TV shows. And I'm like, we get it. These are callbacks. They're important to her. But it's like, that could have been done in 20 minutes of an episode. It really could have. And they even sped it along while they were there. Another thing that really bothered me, I didn't really care for the cartoonish villain. Like, he shows up in the bubble and he's ready to shoot 2 kids. Like, he doesn't know who they are. He's like, I'm going to shoot you 2 kids. Like, what?
I was about to say that exact same thing.
Why?
They just made generic evil military guy.
Yeah, and it's like he's not coming back, so he's chewing the scenery. He's like, oh, I'm evil, and I want Wanda shot in the head. Like, it's like, okay, whatever, like, go for it. And then you have whatever his name is, guy from Definitely My Maybe or whatever it was. What's his name? He's hilarious. I like him. He was in Ant-Man. He's the detective. He shows up in this one. He's the FBI guy.
I like him.
John Woo.
Asian Jim.
Kevin, don't be racist, Kevin.
Asian Jim.
Oh, that is his last name. I'm sorry.
no,
John Woo.
He plays Asian Jim.
Yeah, Asian Jim. No, I know. He does. It's hilarious. Dude. He pranks Dwight. Yeah, John Woo. I love that guy. And he did fine, but I did laugh like at the moment where it's like...
He's also in 5 Year Engagement. I covered him in
Yes.
blood and chicken feather, and put a gun into his hand.
Yeah, he
No,
plays like,
one thing I was actually about to mention just the generic cartoon evil military guy.
yeah.
But another thing that bothered me, well, one is that, and I didn't know this until after I watched the show, is that Monica Rambeau is the kid in Captain Marvel.
Oh, see, yeah, I didn't know that either. I do remember somebody mentioning that she was tied to that universe. And I'm like, oh, great. So someone else that I don't care about, a movie I'll never go see, try to make her relevant.
Yeah, and there's a line that she said in, I think it was like episode 5 or 6, that really bothered me. And it was just the line that was saying, "This is my life and this is my truth." I was like, "Oh, come on!" Because we
line
all know
was
what that
bone chilling.
line implies.
Yeah, that line was bone chilling. It was terrifying.
It was just like
it's not good.
Like, I mean, it's like you could tell that like that was just like some activist writer saying, "Put this line in. We have to say this phrase."
Kind of freaked me out too when they said it because it seemed out of character.
It's maybe your experience, but the truth, there's only one truth. There's not your truth. There's not my truth. There's only the truth.
Well, Kevin, as a true fact checker, you couldn't have said it better yourself, my friend.
And
But
so
my feelings don't care about your facts, you freaking bigot, homophobic, sexist, racist bigot. Twice the bigot.
And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like, that line just made me like dislike the character, which is, I don't like to think that. It's like, I don't like you.
I
don't care if people or directors or even the message doesn't agree with my political doesn't agree with my political perspective, but don't hammer me over the head with it. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Isn't it fun to be fed this stuff, like spoon-fed? You're like, oh, please no more. And they're like, take your helping of social justice. I can't. Oh, Disney, I'm gross. And Mickey's just standing there. Oh, have your helping of social justice. I'll tell you what, Disney. Jordan, you said it best. You were trapped.
Oh, and just a little homage to my last appearance on this podcast. Court Jester is on Amazon Prime now.
Attaboy. Danny K.
Dude, we're getting you back on for many more movies to come, believe me.
I'm excited.
Dude, Kevin, you're amazing. We love you, man. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning into Futro Movie Gems. Jordan wants us to get off now, so I guess I won't share what I've been watching lately.
No, you'll have
That's
to share
okay.
next week. I'm sorry. It's at 2 hours.
Oh, that's so sad. Well, everybody, tune in next week. I watched
No.
The Map of Tiny Perfect Things, The Muppets, Peanut Butter Falcon, and Bourne Identity.
All right.
Okay, bye. Thanks, everybody.
Love
you.
Those were the movies I watched. Hey, everybody, write us a 5-star review. Leave us a review. Write us emails, futuremovies@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode, Kevin. Do you have a social media presence that you want people to be aware of?
So they can cancel you and get you fired?
Tell us where Hillary Clinton can find you.
Well, I'm not in the same location as I was the last time I appeared on this podcast.
Hey, congrats, buddy, on the big move.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Good thing you're in a red state now. Keep it red.
I was in a red state before, but it went blue in the election.
That's right.
Because they're paid.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a whole
Keep it
other
a red
discussion.
state. Oh, yeah, that's everything. Peace, everybody. Thanks for listening. Futuro Movie Gems signing out. Peace.
Adios.